Oh boy. Let me set this up. It's so fucking cold in here. Oh my god. Let me see. Hello? Let me see. Oh shit, this might not be good. Let me turn it down. Okay, hi. Oh, here we go. Bruh, right as I'm about to go to bed. Can't say GoatCatto for streaming at my bedtime. Too bad. Go to bed or watch a birdie drama stream. This is a curse at this point. Okay, so, like I said in the description, I haven't watched the entirety of this video. I got like 45, maybe 50 minutes in. I can't remember. I tried to watch it whenever I was going to bed one night, but like, it was a little bit overstimulating, so I just held on to the knowledge that I knew from the victims. And I just didn't watch it, so here we are. Oh my god. GoatCatto, this has been covered so many times. Why are you doing this? Because I knew the guy. I'm not gonna try and like, I don't know. Whatever. Watching the best comeback ever made. No! Oh, by the way, I watched part of this earlier with a friend, and I couldn't stop laughing because it's so bad! It's so bad. You knew him. Yes, I dated him for like a month in 2019. He was kind of emotionally abusive, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, I enabled his behavior, but then when I realized what we were doing was wrong, and I tried to get them to stop that, he like freaked out, and he was all like, I'm having a panic attack, oh my god. And so, because every time he would get upset that I would, quote-unquote, defend Heimguts, he would like freak out at me, or vent in the voice channel, or not the voice channel, oh my god, vent in the vent chats and stuff like that, and then ghost me for like a day or two. Usually a day. 2 days is a little bit dramatic. But yeah, no, it was crazy. And apparently, some people in their group stalked me after that. Well, whatever. And then I was close with him in 2023. I was a middleman for him and the Maryland guy, or whatever the hell. Shit was fucking insane. And I do know he lies about this in his comeback video. He's like, dude, Maryland abused me. No. Actually. You know what you did. You just didn't want to talk about it because, I know that I abused Maryland and I manipulated him, but, Oh, also, I might be able to show you guys my DMs with him, but whatever. Let me look. I might have to get new headphones soon. They're dying. Psychosis. Tice org. Incest. Oh, I can't say that out loud. I'll get demonetized. Or can I?
Please do not harass anyone mentioned in this video. Harassment is not condoned, nor is vigilante justice. Please do not attempt to contact those mentioned. This video is for explanation purposes only. Hi, it's Birdie, or Damage Coda 6669.
There's so much going on.
2 or 3 years now. Oddly enough,
It hurts my eyes.
kinda excited to be back. It's about time I get released from the internet void. So, you're probably a bit confused. Like, hey, why have I been gone so long? Why did I come back? And oh, birdie trauma.
You shouldn't have come back. That was a bad idea.
Before. I'll get into all that juicy stuff in a bit, but first, I'd like to properly introduce myself for the first time. Hi, my name is Jack, or Lucifer. My pronouns are he, it. I'm 19. I'm A-raised and gay, ooh la la. My favorite colors are red, black, and yellow. I'm a demon kitty. I love rainbows and tacos and cats and randomness. I love scene and Decora K and emo, but that's pretty obvious, isn't it?
Oh, and stop! We have the same voice! Oh my god. Dude, don't say that. Don't say that. I used to get, like, compared to his looks, too, when I was younger. Somebody used to be like, dude, GoatCatto looks like a feminine birdie. And I'm sitting over here, I'm like, dude, you just crushed me with that. Don't say that. I mean, we're both trans, I guess, at the end of the day, so I guess it makes sense as to why our dialect, or whatever the hell, voice is a little bit deeper. I don't know. Maybe it's the autism with, like, the flat stuff. Animation meme community phenotype. Except that my ears aren't that big, Max. My ears are not that big. By the way, this is something I pointed out to my friend, too. If you look at this drawing, and you ignore the fact that these are ears, it kind of looks like this is his entire head. Do you guys see it? Like, his mouth goes up here, his glasses is here, and then it, like, loops here. And then he has, like, dimple piercings. I'm sorry, I sound insane. I'm just very hyper today.
Tism. I love South Park, BoJack Horseman.
I want to make you guys see it because it's really funny if you imagine it. Oh my god.
Moral Oral, Doki Doki Literature Club, Miracle Musical.
Oh wait, you guys are probably gonna hear this. I'm gonna mute because my headphones died, okay?
My Little Pony, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and other thingies. I have a kitty named Squirp. So during the making of this video, we got another kitty.
What type of name is Squirp? SQRP or SQWRP. Who looks at a cat and is like, Squirp, Squirp, I'm so quirky. I'm so quirky. Ugh. Wait, oh my god. Squirp. I also do not like that Jack almost likes almost all of my interests. I like them first. Oh my god. Duh. Let me make sure you guys can hear me because I can't tell if my mic's muted or not. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm tripping. My bad. Here we go.
Cat, and I named her Stupid, and here she is. Well, this is the day that I adopted her, and she just got home a few hours ago. Do you want to say hi, Stupid?
Why is your cat built like that?
Oh, she's biting me. Ah! 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 You're evil. Ah! Don't bite me. Don't bite me. Stop it. I just want to pet you.
If it keeps biting you, just, like, take your hand away. Has he ever owned cats before? I'm like, really curious. Usually if a cat's, like, swiping you, I know it's playing or whatever. It's different for every animal. But, like, if you don't like the behavior, stop engaging. Easy.
Ah! Ah! Are you fucking stupid?
Yes, I am.
I love head pats and biting everyone in the near vicinity. I'm sick in the head, I'm omega cringe, and welcome back to my channel. First, I'd like to discuss the future of my channel with all of you, and what to expect from me from here on out. Things are going to be pretty much the same as before content-wise. I'm here to make animations that I think are neat, usually with some songs that I like. I might throw in some animation memes here and there too, because why not?
You should send me your Discord tag so I can talk to you about gore and self-harm. Ooh.
I've got some animations ready to post that I really enjoyed making, and I think you'll all enjoy them too. I'll be uploading more frequently than I did before, but if you want to see more content...
Also, what the fuck was that? What? Okay. Oh my god, it's Pumpkin Gentleman? Okay, I gotta get this off the screen. I gotta get this off the screen, brother.
Enjoyed making, and I think you'll all enjoy them too. I'll be uploading more frequently than I did before, but if you want to see more content from me, you can follow me on DeviantArt to see regular posts of my drawings, which I think are pretty cool. Or you can visit my toy house to read about my characters. I have a few story
Cropped gore porn, by the way.
projects I've been planning for a while too, so keep an eye out for those. Like Seth's Deadly Sin. There'll be plenty of fun stuff for all of you to check out. I'm sure.
Which, by the way, he posts really suggestive art pieces on his main account, even though he has the 18+ account. It was of what was it? It was June and I think maybe Seth on a couch, and they're like groping each other, talking about being horny. Why is that not on your 18 plus account specifically? And, you know, only on that one. Why is Pumpkin here? I mean, I follow him on Twitter. He follows me on Twitter. I've never hated the guy. I think you guys are kind of stupid to be all like, oh my god, he's a pedophile. He's not. Anyways, let us continue. If you call him a pedophile, get out of my chat, please. Until I see evidence that he's a groomer or whatever. Right now, I don't really care for all that. Bye-bye.
Of it. Also, some of my art is pretty gory and contains dark themes, so be aware of that while navigating my content. I have a straw page that explains this more in detail, so I'll link that in the description, and you can read it if you'd like to know more.
Jingle, jingle, pay attention. Jingle, jingle, pay attention. Jingle, jingle, pay attention. We're talking birdie trauma, not gourd. Leave gourd man alone, bro.
More about me. Now prepare to go crazy and lose your mind. My animations are guaranteed to give you all super autism.
It made me want to kill myself, but I guess that works too. Super autism, does that come with the package of wanting to commit suicide on the daily? Because in reality, I really don't like your art. I don't understand how you're such a bad person, and your art ain't even that good. You're more hated than me, and you have more subscribers and, like, more fans and more people who are, like, worshipping you, even though you're a literal abuser, bro. Like, what's up with that? They see a person who's literally been arrested for, committing assault on family members, threatening to rape people, wanting to poison their family members, holding their little sister hostage at the age of 18, 19, something like that. And they're just all like, oh my god, that's my favorite person right there. That's Birdie. That's my favorite person. That's my favorite boy. Yes! Birdie was arrested in 2019 when we were dating because he stabbed his mother with a fork. Do you want me to show you the screenshots? Unfortunately, there's a lot of really bad stuff that I did back then, too. I will admit, I was absolutely fucking nuts. Do not claim anything I said, but I apologize for this literally ages. Wait, this was 2019. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Oh my god, that was 5 years ago. That's such a long time ago. Anyways, a lot of people are all like, dude, 2019 is so long ago. Why do you guys care? It would be different if he actually changed, but the fact that he still has a track record of threatening domestic violence and stuff like that. Is that why he had his profile picture as the fork? Yes! Where is it? Ooh, that's bad. Okay, hold up. Arrest stuff. Here we go. This was my DMs with Gabriel. I got charged with domestic violence and I now legally have to go to therapy for 3 more months. Oh, my mom called the police on me for lightly poking her with a fork. Lightly poking. But then didn't he later admit, or at least heavily imply, that he stabbed her? And then it later came out that he did stab her and that she literally had bruises on her fucking torso and shit like that? The lore drop. Yes, girl, I've been keeping up with this stuff for, like, years. I don't know everything, but I got all this stuff. If you were gently poking someone with a fork, you wouldn't have the cops called on you. This guy literally has a history of stabbing himself and trying to do it to other people, or at least fantasizing about doing it to other people. Yes, I did. Not the Gabe stuff. Did I see something about Ferret? Fake arrest. Oh my god, I know who you are. I think I know who that is. That's fucking crazy. That was garbage. Guys, Okay, so you know how I talked about how this lady named Garbage was behind the Birdie Heimgut's rape comics and stuff like that? Oh my god, dude, she was involved with Me Too. She was involved with, like, a lot of stuff. She would, like, try to spread conspiracy theories and stuff like this. I remember the person who was associated with her named Gabe confirmed that this was her. But this is her trying to, like, tamper with stuff and start drama. Keep in mind that this person was literally, like, what, 30-something years old? Oh, bye. Where is it? Anyways, yeah, this is the shit he called me toxic for. You guys wanted a lore dump. I'll just get it out of the way. Listen, I really love you. You don't seem super supportive in a way. It feels like you care more about Haim and everything bad about her. Like, obsessed, in a way. By the way, at this point of time, he was literally talking about mutilating and raping her. Or him, sorry. They went by her back then, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. It seems like you'd rather focus on them rather than on us, and it really hurts, like, a lot. Why would you redraw a ship child, a Burdick ship child, and you redrew a character that represents her and is a character of hers recently, and it's kind of, you can't go one day without focusing on her. Every day it's constantly Haim, and you begged me and others to harass her and raid her stuff. He emotionally abused me for, like, not raiding shit. It was really stupid. Haim didn't want anything to do with you anymore. I've told you this, I had proof, but you claim she was lying about it, and you didn't want to see the proof. It's, I don't know. Also, your arrest, it seems kind of fake. I thought it was fake at the time, but I don't think it was fake. I think that he was lying about how bad it was, which was why a lot of people thought it was fake, because it's like, well, that's not true, then blah, blah, blah. How did you stay with him? I don't know. I liked him well, actually, I do have an answer. You know that gay person? It sounds like I said gay person. Oh my god. The Gabe person? The gay person manipulated me into the Sashley drama. The Gabe person also encouraged me to stay with Birdie. And whenever I was in a different server venting about this, and people are like, why don't you leave him? And I was like, I can't. It's classified. I can't leave him yet. Because Gabe was like, no, stay, we need more information, we need to help him, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you to stay. Keep in mind, this guy was older than me. But whatever. Haha, I knew that would happen, so you never hide me right. It was crazy. I was telling people to stop, let me see. Anyways, whatever. That's enough lore dump. I'll find the rest of it later, I don't care right now.
Hold on. I'm eating mini tacos. Now that all the fun stuff is out of the way, I'd like to start explaining why I left and why I came back. I'm going to be very vulnerable for the rest of this video, so please consider the trigger warnings at the beginning, or the ones on screen right now. If you are a member of my family watching this video, including my parents and grandparents, I kindly advise that you stop here. I do not wish to have you be part of my internet life because you have irreversibly hurt me, and I'm going to be straightforward and honest about the damage that you've done. You will be anonymous and safe from harm in my video. I ask you again, please stop watching. If you wanted to hear about the ways that you've abused me, you would have listened to me a long time ago, or reflected on your own actions. Okay, cool, bye, go away. And also,
Sorry, I don't want to be that person, but if you claim that it came out he actually stabbed his mom but didn't show proof, just the likely poked one, although he probs did do it because they wouldn't arrest if she didn't have any visible bruises or marks. Yeah, at the time, we just thought he was being over-dramatic and lying. I was talking about this to my friend earlier, too. I was like, you know, when I was younger, I used to think he was lying about all the shit he was doing for attention because I thought he was just being edgy. But now that we're literally both, like, what, 20 years old, I realize that he's fucking serious and he's always been serious about this. It's so scary because it's like, what the hell? And I was gonna let you move in with me at some point, too, if I ever got a car. And I literally had faith that you had scared. It was just, ugh. Bro is the gender-bent Lily Orchard. I don't know enough about that person to compare, but based on their reactions, that doesn't sound like a good one. It hurts me really bad learning that Jack hasn't changed. No, Jack knows what he's doing is wrong. He just didn't care.
Quick thing here, to everyone else watching this, hey, I would really, 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 really appreciate it if you didn't go after my family like you keep doing. Yeah, Scorp knows. Yeah, Scorp's based. Like, please leave them out of this. This is for explanation purposes. Like, they abused me very much, but, like, going after them is going to hurt me very much.
Why aren't you saying... Oh my god. Notice how everything is, I'm the victim, I'm the victim, I'm the victim. Hey, don't harass them because I'm the victim. I'm not gonna say don't harass them because they're my family and my little sister, who's literally a minor, doesn't deserve you guys stalking her, even though there have been many such cases of people showing up to your house. You used to talk about it in your server. But, oh, it's just me, I'm the victim. Guys, don't do that, it'll put me in danger. You live with Cinny at the time that you recorded this, so what are you on about?
Which is probably the reason a lot of people will go after them, if they do, after watching this. Which, like, I wish I could do something aside from just saying this, but this is the best I can do. I wanted to tell the truth, and I'm going to, but it might have some consequences that I don't intend. Don't be the cause of it. Don't do this to me.
Don't do this to me, not don't harass them, because it's bad for them. I don't know. Yeah, didn't Jack post or gave his address before? Yeah, multiple times. He doxed himself multiple times as a kid, and he didn't really care. I forget he's in Oklahoma, he can't be here.
Please. Originally, I was gonna mention here how abusive my parents have been to me my whole life, but due to recent events, I've come to find that my whole family is abusive, not just my parents, and I'd like to talk about it. Well, with the exception of my siblings, of course. I'm talking about my grandparents. This is gonna be a long story, so strap in and grab some snackies. So, let's start from the beginning.
Hey guys, so this is my totally, serious abuse story. Grab some snackies. It's gonna be a long ride.
I never really saw him vent about his grandma whenever I was friends with him in 2023, unless it was his grandma telling him to go to school or get a job or go to therapy or something like that. Or, oh, my grandma doesn't agree with me about what I'm saying about my parents. Like, okay.
Picture this, it's 2021, right before I had my internet taken away. I was 16. So, for context, my parents are very abusive. I'll give some examples in a little bit, but first, let me put this into perspective for you. They are conservative Trump supporters. They are racist, sexist, transphobic, homophobic, anti-vaxxers, anti-maskers, conspiracy theorists, hardcore Christians. They're literally in a cult.
I won't deny any of that because I have seen, like, some evidence about their parents being absolutely bonkers. But, yeah. Is this your first time watching this video, Goat? Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I watched it a little bit a while ago, but it wasn't to the full. I was, like, watching it before bed. I only got 45 to 50 minutes in, and I just couldn't focus on it because it was kind of overstimulating, and I wanted to go to sleep. This is kind of helping me focus more on it because I can talk about it and process it. Usually whenever I'm just, watching stuff by myself, I don't process information like I should. Because I get distracted and I'm like, I could draw right now, I'll come back to it later, and then I don't. That's just how I am.
And they have 6 kids, not including me. Ew. They have emotionally, verbally, sexually, and physically abused me for my whole life, as well as neglecting me. And I can say that my siblings have endured similar treatment. So yeah, my parents were the reason I had to take a hiatus in the first place. So, in 2021, I went through the worst breakup of my life, and I began to deteriorate emotionally and physically. One day, my parents...
I went through the worst breakup of my life. Oh my god. Ugh. Jesus Christ. Most of his breakups are just people realizing that he's really bad and he's like sucking their soul out and like draining them, and they don't want to be hurt by him anymore. But then he always finds some way to victimize himself. I witnessed that in 2023. He does it all the time. Notice how he's always the victim whenever he falls out with someone, even when he can't prove it. And then sometimes he'll be like, well, I can't show you proof of that because I'm traumatized by this. And so, you know, I can't like, you know, go like that. I'm traumatized and bothered by this DMs. You look in there. You look in there for me. I don't want to go get it. I know I'm supposed to disprove my own allegations, but you know, I'm so traumatized that I just can't do it. You know, I just can't look up a key thing and screenshot it like I did with Heim Guts. Let me find it. Ooh, it's tea time. Let me see if you guys can see this. Hold on. Okay. Let me look for the document real quick. Doc. Dude, my heart is pounding. This stuff's crazy. Here we go. Here we go. La 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 la. Oh, we're not looking at that. Sorry. La 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 la. You know, I believed him at the time, but whatever. Anyways, he's like, oh, I can't gather evidence, but you could still work on this, right? Let me see. And then let me check it out. Hold on. Dude, hold on. Dude, it's like lagging out. Hold up. There we go. Hi, guys. So how is it that Al was able to like gather all this stuff for you using... Was it Al using his account or something? Jesus Christ. Either way, it's kind of annoying that he makes other people do his dirty work for him. It's just like, dude, can you do something yourself for once? Like, holy shit, dude. Come on. I have to depend on others for everything. I'm just too traumatized. I can't just search up a keyword in my DMs because, haha, whatever. But, you know, I can obsessively look through my old DMs with my exes and talk about their genitals. Silly, 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 silly.
Literally swarmed me in the basement, so I hid in my room, and they screamed through the door for about an hour or more about how I'm lazy and faking depression to quote-unquote be a victim or whatever. They cut off my internet directly afterwards and they refused to bring it back. This happened when I was 14 too, except when I was 14 I ended up having a psychotic break that lasted for months, and the Wi-Fi being out was most of the reason for it. I would like to clarify that I was diagnosed with psychosis in September of 2023, so this is just something that I live with. I mean, I was diagnosed when I was 14 too, but like I was in denial about it for a long time, so like, just got diagnosed again. At the moment, I'm unsure what disorder in particular I have because I had to stop seeing my psychiatrist because I moved to another state, which I'll elaborate on in a little bit. He initially diagnosed me with depression with psychotic features, but as I elaborated on my symptoms, he realized it was something more severe and that I'm most likely schizospec. So at the moment, I just call it psychosis for convenience. So, back then, I obviously didn't want to have a psychotic break again, and I had nothing else to live for aside from the internet, so I attempted suicide. I told my parents I needed to go to the hospital because I thought it was bleeding out at me, and even threatened to—
This is why you shouldn't let your kid grow up, like, dependent on the internet. Sorry, I'm, like, jumbling my words right now. I hate this. Because you end up having people like this, dude. And people like how I was in 2019. And a lot of people that I've seen over the last, like, 2 years who are now adults, but they still act like they're 14 or 16. It's crazy. And they're like, I changed. And then behind the scenes, they never changed. It's just, you people are gullible. I remember I got attacked for, like, being like, hey, you guys, he left out a lot of stuff and I didn't even watch all of it. And they were like, you just hate Jack. You're friends with his abusers. You mean his victims? What the fuck are you talking about, babe? We're only 8 minutes in. I'm sorry, I'm just yapping.
to call the police because I was quote-unquote threatening them to take me to the hospital. The next day, I heard my mom on the phone gossiping to her friends about how I attempted suicide and how stupid I was for doing it, and then treated my dad like a hero for refusing to take me to the hospital. I just listened and cried. And it's not like they couldn't afford to take me to the hospital. While I was showing psychotic symptoms at 14, they were afraid of me and hated being around me, and
I mean, yeah, that could be abuse there.
so they would take me to the hospital whenever they didn't want to deal
Anyways,
with me.
I don't really care to speculate about his abuse. I care to more speculate about who he is as a person and stuff like that, but whatever.
I had to take a hiatus because my internet was gone for a long time, and even when I got my internet back, I decided not to come back because this place wasn't good for me mentally. And combined with my parents and with my breakup, this place would have broken me, so I decided to stay away. I found loopholes to get my internet back in 2022, without my parents' knowledge, of course. But with my internet taken away, I quickly began to realize the extent of my parents' abuse, and I realized I needed to get away from them as soon as possible. But I was only 16, and I didn't have any friends IRL, so there was nobody to save me. Eventually, an online friend, who I will not be naming here, got in contact with me and offered me a safe place to stay. The issue with this is he lived—
This friend was 17 years old, by the way. This is really funny. He's like, dude, this kid who's 17 years old and I was like 18, and they're holding this over my head to manipulate me, even though they feel bad for me because I tell them that I'm being abused at home and they and their mother also want me to have a safe space to live and thrive. And they're literally offering him a job. But he's just all like... he's just all like, yeah, guys, you see this guy doing a bunch of nice stuff for me because he cares about me? That's the abuser, not me, who was literally pinging him with pictures of my self-harm and threatening suicide every other moment. And then Jack admitted stuff like that in the server and in my DMs. But whatever.
Lived all the way in Maryland, and I lived in Washington State, so I would need to prepare to move cross-country. I waited until I turned 18, and I prepared for over a year, all while hiding my plans from my parents. I relied on this guy for my own safety, and he began to emotionally abuse me as well. He became my favorite person, because guess what? I have borderline personality disorder, which I will talk about more later, which quickly worsened our unhealthy—
He gave you gifts because it was Christmas and you talked about your parents mistreating you and he wanted you to have a nice Christmas. Also, I like how you call it love bombing. Guys, I have more tea. This was in 2023. Girl. Gifts. Pay attention, guys. We gotta... My God. Here we go. La 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 la. Where is it? Update. Asked my grandma through my grandpa's Facebook. She gave me the address and she's willing to have my gift shipped. Let me know when Vinny's online so I can give it to him. Be right back. Getting on the bus. Funny how he talked about not being able to walk or get a job, but he also talked about getting a job in my DMs with him, and he also talked about walking to the bus stop to go to the library to get Wi-Fi. You know. Okay, I'm back. Does Vinny need the address right now? Also, tell me to give me his so I can mail his stuff too. They were doing an equal Christmas gift exchange, but he tried to frame this as something that it wasn't. Isn't that crazy? It's almost like this guy's a liar. Also, Vinny's gonna accept my gifts, right? I've been waiting forever to give them to him. Oh! This was whenever he suicide bombed me over the Maryland dude leaving. I'm just gonna use this stream as an evidence thing. I don't care. This is my DMs with him. Whatever. This was like a forwarded thing. It was like, I didn't intend to isolate you, blah, 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 blah. And then Jack's all like, I'm gonna kill myself. And then he starts talking about killing himself and shit like that with me. And I stayed up till 4 a.m. threatened to call the cops on him. And I remember I got into an argument with my mother talking about whether or not we should call the cops on him. And she was like, he's probably doing it for attention. I don't know if we should call the cops. And I was like, but he's threatening suicide. It was just crazy. I was trying to cheer him up and like nothing was working. And then years later to find out that he says that he never really took suicide that seriously is just crazy. Anyways, gifts. Really want. Let me see. Ask him. Fuck, did he delete shit? Whatever. Where is it? Anyways, whatever. I think I proved enough stuff. He was like talking about wanting the Vinny stuff and stuff like that. Vinny at first wasn't even gonna give it to him. But whatever. Let's go back to the video. I think that's enough, right, chat? I hate to sound like that type of streamer.
Healthy relationship. As soon as I had plans ready to purchase a plane ticket, he blocked me, leaving me back at square one, stuck in my abusive household with my parents and with no support system at all. He intended to let me stay at his mom's house, and I was under the impression that she knew I would be coming and that she was allowing me to stay there.
Did he ever apologize to you, Goat? He only apologized for calling me a Jaime White Knight, but he never apologized or admitted to, like, the weird stalking thing that he and, his ex did. And he also didn't apologize for any of this stuff that happened. You know, at first, when I didn't watch the video, I was willing to forgive him because at first I thought I was in the wrong, but then I remembered everything that kind of happened. Like, not everything, but just, like, on a base level, and I was like, oh, wait, no. Because I have a bad habit of, like, forgiving people who have hurt others and me because I'm just like, well, maybe they changed. Maybe they're different. But then it's like, wait, no, you can't change trauma, bro. You shouldn't associate with that. Anyways, whatever.
I learned after the fact that this guy had lied to me and that his mom had no idea about our plans. Like, she just thought that I was coming to visit, not that I was gonna live there. Also, another really weird thing that this guy did is that he kept bribing me with gifts. Like,
bribing you with gifts? You never showed evidence of that.
According to him, he spent either $200 to $400 on gifts for me from, like, Amazon that he planned to give to me when I arrived at his house. And, like, even weirder, I have proof that these gifts were real. He ended up sending, like, 3 of them to me in the mail.
Okay, so never mind, I got them confused. But still, though, God forbid someone do something nice for you because you claim to be like, I don't have anything. Are you fucking stupid? Are you stupid? He turns every nice thing that anybody does to him or anything critical that anybody says about him into, I was abused, this guy is manipulating me. Because he can't admit the fact that he might just be the one in the wrong. Is Birdie rich? No! Bitch doesn't even have a job. Speaking of, sorry, gotta go back to my DMs. He was talking about how he can't work at a job. He never got a job, bro, but me and him would talk about wanting jobs and stuff like that. There we go. His dad was willing. There we go. Friday, February 24th, 2023. Blah, 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 left again, for sure, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna bounce back from this. I'm gonna get a job. Where do you want to work at? I'm thinking about it. Haven't thought about job options since I was 17. Not quite sure yet. Oh, sweet. Blah, 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 blah. I can help with the job aspect stuff. Oh, sweet. Blah, blah, blah. I gave him, like, what he needs, etc., etc. All that. Blah, 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 blah. Cover letter is what the thing does and blah, blah, blah. And then I was teaching him about, like, banks and stuff like that. When was this? Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. Still trying to get a job. Sunday, March 12th, 2023. By the way, I think I'm going to apply for a job tomorrow. Do you have any advice? I asked my dad for advice, and he told me a bunch, but it's always helpful to have advice from people my own age. I asked about that. My dad says I don't need that, I don't think, about resumes and cover letters. Why would your dad ever tell you that you don't need a resume or a cover letter if you're applying to jobs? That's literally what you always need to apply to a job. Either somebody's lying or somebody's really stupid. Whatever. Anyways.
And he would hold these gifts over my head constantly to, like, manipulate me. Like, whenever I did something that he didn't like, he would try to control me by being like, dude, I spent, like, $300 on gifts for you, and you're gonna act like this? You're such a bad friend. And, like, he would keep increasing the price every time he, like, used this tactic. Like, it started out as, like, I spent $200 on you, and then it went up to, like, $400. So, honestly...
Does Birdie perhaps have paranoia, or does he like the sympathy he receives when he posts himself in the victim position? He does have paranoia, but he's also admitted that he knows that he's manipulative. He knows that he does stuff for, like, you know, attention. That's been a thing he's been doing since he was a kid. It's weird because he's always going to excuse everything with, like, his mental health. While, yes, mental health does excuse some things, or at least explains why rather than excuses. But the thing is that he's always confronted with what he did, and he refuses to acknowledge it, even when there's flat-out proof. He just wants to be in an echo chamber. He doesn't want to be told, hey, stop doing this, because he's like, well, they hurt me. Like, God. Whatever.
Honestly, I don't know how much he spent on those gifts. And also, I never asked for them. It honestly, to me, it felt like a huge burden. I never asked for any of the gifts. He just decided to love bomb me.
I never asked for any of the gifts. Okay, let me go look at Ask again. Ew, I found him guilt tripping me again, whatever. I'm still looking, sorry. Whatever, I don't need to do that. Whatever. I already established that he lied about shit. Whatever. Liar.
With them,
liar,
and
liar, pants on fire.
I couldn't
blah, blah, blah,
do
blah, blah.
anything because holy shit, that's a lot of money to spend on, like, a manipulation tactic. If I'm being honest, that's what it is.
You were the one he was talking about? No, that's not me. I was friends with the person he was talking about, and I was friends with him. And he was literally, like, talking about doing an equal gift exchange. I was the middleman, bro. I was like, okay, Maryland dude, Jack's saying this about your gifts. He's asking you to do this. Okay, Jack's doing this. And okay, Jack, well, this person is saying they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. Ugh, whatever. There was no manipulation. Also, this was after the Maryland dude cut contact with him too, in this instance that I'm talking about. He was like, oh my god, he was manipulating me. He literally didn't want to talk to you. He just wanted to give you his gifts because he felt bad for you and wanted you to have something nice. And also because he spent so much money on that, why not? I don't think he wanted it rotting around the house, and he probably didn't want to, take it all back because God knows there's a lot of complications with it. But whatever. Let's continue.
Is like, holy moly. So, now it's the beginning of 2023. I ended up moving 4 times in just this year, and I endured so much abuse, which I will elaborate on shortly. I got back on my feet quickly, and I prepared to complete my GED so I could get a job and afford to move out. Despite the significant progress I was making, my parents kicked me out very soon after I turned 18 with the intention.
You got kicked out because you were physically abusing your little sister, and you were also just a fucking douchebag. I don't blame them. But that's just what I heard. A little birdie told me that. On X.com. Look it up.
Of leaving me homeless on the streets. The day I was kicked out, I went to my grandma's house, and she allowed me to stay there and eventually decided that she would house me until I could afford to move out. I was already working towards completing my GED, so this seemed viable at the time. Issues began to arise when she expected me to wake up early to go to school 3 days a week and work on math at home for an hour every day.
Dude. Oh my god, you had it lucky. You had it so lucky. I know it's different from public education, but I would kill to only have 3 days of school when I was a kid. And only having to study for an hour. Also, yeah, I won't go into too much detail. Sorry about that, Tosh. But oh my god. She expected me to do my homework for an hour after school? That's crazy. I had to go to school for 3 days a week? That's crazy. I would get punished and get physically beaten just for goofing around and being a child in school, or for just making B's in math. I still had to go to school every single day, and then sometimes on Saturday school when I realistically didn't need it, I still had to go. And on those optional days, I still had to go because my mom was a control freak. Your grandma seems really nice. I tried to tell my mom that I was probably special needs, but she didn't listen. It's glad that your family knows what you are. And also the fact that they know that you're an abuser. Love you, ex-boo-boo.
Day, as well as getting to all my appointments by myself, which I know it sounds ridiculous that this is where I began to suffer, but I dropped out of school in 9th grade and I have super autism. There's also the fact that I can't drive, so I would have to take public transportation to these education programs and wherever else every time I needed to go, and it was a 15-minute walk to the bus stop every day. It was the middle of summer, and I didn't have any cool clothes thanks to my parents' neglect. There were also—
What do you mean? I literally saw you in shorts and t-shirts back then. What are you talking about? I had to take a 15-minute walk. I take 20-minute walks to work. Get on my level. That's not even that bad. What's wrong with you? Oh my god.
Also a shit ton of other things I was dealing with at the time, like medical shit. And speaking of which, I am chronically anemic, which means that I
So he did talk about being dizzy a lot, but he never talked anything about having POTS or anything like that, and he never said that he got diagnosed, and I don't think anybody anywhere actually has proof or record of him saying that he was ever actually officially diagnosed with any of that. undiagnosed heart condition. Oh my god, I'm stupid. I can't read. I think I'm turning blonde.
Basically cannot exude as much energy as most people can. TLDR, I'm disabled. I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but I swear to God, my body and my mind were not built for this kind of lifestyle.
You can beat up your little bro. Oh, sorry. You can physically abuse people, but you can't walk to the bus stop. You can attack people, but you can't do that. I'm sorry, but I don't really believe him. I understand. I get dizzy too, but I still do what I gotta do. I literally only eat once a day. That's not healthy, but I'm working on it. I'm just trying to say, regardless of health, we still gotta thrive and move on, bro. Especially if you got nobody.
Quickly got burnt out.
Especially when the people who are around you are literally offering to help you and you keep refusing it because they ask you to actually do something for yourself for once. But that's just the tea.
And when I attempted to explain this to her, she yelled at me, which forced me into obedience and led to me attending school programs in a burnt out state for several months. I'd like to add, these programs were doing literally nothing to help me progress with my GED. I started going to a GED prep program in person, and I completed 2 of the 4 tests independently. But then I shifted my focus to math, which has always been my weakest point, and they set me up on a school Chromebook to take the GED practice test so that the curated lessons could be gauged from my answers from their website. Listen, I know how to do math. I just so happen to be much slower at it and have a hard time understanding the questions because guess what? I have a learning disability. I expressed this to the staff and I explained that I was capable of answering the questions but that I didn't understand what they were asking, and I politely asked for help and asked if there were any alternatives. They provided me with no help whatsoever despite me being on an IEP, and allowed me to basically skim through all of the questions, selecting random answers and typing in random numbers because I couldn't give a shit if I didn't understand what it was asking. Thus, the curated lessons were inaccurate to my education level, not that it mattered because I can only process information when
Am I just really dumb, or why do we care about this? Why is this relevant again? Sorry, it's just starting to tire me already. It's oh my god, you're this happened and 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 I'm a victim in this and 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 I'm oh my god. So much. There's so much. It's just one thing after the other and after the other and after the other. You guys make me want to become alcoholics when you do
being
shit
taught
like this.
one-on-one. So I would have to go in there every week and stare at a screen.
Why did I
for
speak
over an
plural?
hour
I'm sorry.
To do math.
Let me rephrase that. Listening to this guy makes me want to become an alcoholic because of how insufferable he is. I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to insult, but Jesus. I know this guy's, but at the same time, objective. I'm sorry. We must remain objective. Ugh. Composure.
Sometimes even trying, but not absorbing any information whatsoever. I really did want to complete my GED, so I put in an effort to be put on a tutoring list in that program, and I attended the tutoring sessions every week. The issue was, none of these tutoring sessions were one-on-one. It was a classroom setting where a tutor would write random shit on a whiteboard based on requests from other people in the classroom, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I fucking hate public school-style education because throughout my entire life, being a disabled dude, I have learned nothing from it. I specifically requested tutoring so I could have help with math one-on-one, but because of the misleading role of the tutor, I made no progress at all once again. And you know that IEP I mentioned earlier? For those unaware, IEP stands for Individualized Education Plan, and it's a tool developed by the American public education system, and it was designed for disabled kids to be given the help and assistance they need in school. I've been on an IEP during my entire time in school, and even though I officially dropped out, I tested back to be on an IEP while prepping for my GED. So this was supposed to help
it's called
me,
Trauma
right?
Melon.
Well, being on an IEP for me meant that I had to now attend an alternative high school, and I was required to show up every Friday. I would go into a classroom early in the morning every Friday and simply be asked to go on a website and study. Same exact bullshit as the GED prep program, except I had to bring my own laptop to the school, so if I managed to forget it, they would literally just have me sit in there for an hour doing nothing. Most of the time, the website wouldn't even open, and when I asked the teacher for help, she told me to just email my caseworker at the GED prep program and get her to figure it out. Completely and utterly useless. Apparently, they were also supposed to help me with emotional regulation, but that never came up in that classroom once. At the end of the school year, the teacher asked me to rate my emotional growth on a scale from 1 to 100, and even though I was fucking spiraling, I lied and said 100 because I did not want to keep going there. I don't know if you've guessed, but at this point, I've given up on my GED entirely. Fuck work anyways, it's not like I'm fit.
This is just being special ed or neurodivergent. You're being quite rude. I don't know if you're talking to me, but I quite literally just said this is autism. It's over-explaining stuff. I get it. At first, I was just like, oh my god, my head hurts, but then I remembered, because I do the exact same stuff, but whatever.
Physically or mentally capable enough to uphold a job in the first place.
What's relevant?
Fuck capitalism, fuck the public school system, fuck ableism. Excuse me, I just wanted to rant about that whole shit show for a little bit. Kinda got off track, but I suppose it is an important part of my journey through hell this past year, so it deserves an honorable mention. Meanwhile, as I was dealing with all this, the Maryland dude from before started harassing me privately and leaking my artwork and vents publicly and claiming I abused him, which led to a resurgence in birdie drama despite me being on high.
Because you did abuse him, and there's a lot of solid proof out there, but whatever. Go on. Put the video in 1.245 speed. Okay, well, hold up. Dude, it is. Oh my god. Okay. I forgot. I already had it sped up. I gotta go up again, I guess. That's crazy. 1.5.
Hiatus, and also still healing from what this guy did to me. This led to, guess what, another psychotic break. I had paranoia so extreme that I unadded all of my friends, except for like 2 of them. I could no longer read texts or emails or respond to calls, I couldn't open letters, I couldn't go out in public, and it eventually got so bad that I couldn't leave my room. I started to believe that the government was monitoring me and that every human being had the potential to hurt me, and the things I was saying started making less and less sense. When I addressed these concerns with my grandparents, they laughed at me. They tried to help, I guess. I wouldn't really count this as helping because it was more so in a, this is ridiculous, let's tell it why this is ridiculous sort of tone. They gave me the classic speech of, why would the government target you in particular? What's so special about you? And I think anyone with a brain can realize that this reasoning does not work on somebody in a psychotic and
I don't really understand this because I've had delusions before and I've had people have to like tell shit to me straight and be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're delusional right now. Nobody is gonna hurt you right now. So your parents telling you that realistically the government is not stalking you. Would you rather them be like, yes, they're stalking you? Yes. Why is this being used to victimize himself? Maybe I'm just stupid, but is anybody else seeing what I'm getting at? Because I just don't really understand it. And we're only 19 minutes in. Dude, my parents told me that the government isn't stalking me. Oh my god. Okay.
delusional state. Even worse, I had paranoid reasons as to why the government was targeting me. I am not a normal person. I have a significant internet presence. People do spy on me and have in the past. I'm severely mentally ill, so I thought that maybe they were monitoring me to experiment on my psyche. I couldn't go to the GED prep program anymore. Every time I would step onto the public bus and feel the presence of every human around me, I would feel violently nauseous. Every time I would walk into the building, I would feel everyone's eyes land on me as I walked in, and I felt unexplainable terror. As I became sicker, my grandma became more and more aggressive with me. She began to yell at me more. I didn't feel safe in her house anymore, and this led to me isolating myself even further and becoming more paranoid.
It's because you just refuse to go back. Like, I get it, but... whatever. I don't get it.
She eventually decided to kick me out because of my mental illness, despite me vocalizing that I wanted to get that.
It's because you stopped going to school, and you stopped trying to get a job, and you stopped trying to go to therapy and stuff like that. That's why. Because you were an adult, and you were unwilling to help yourself.
Better and that I knew I could. As I grew sicker, my final weeks there, she found it more acceptable to verbally abuse me for my behavior. Knowing my therapist's office was my final safe space left in person, she emailed my therapist a mean-spirited wall of text, although my therapist decided not to give me the details because it was very hurtful towards me. During one of my appointments, she followed me inside and demanded that she is present for the appointment so she could insult me in front of my therapist. And when I
I bet what she probably said was so that he wouldn't twist the narrative and lie, but I'm not them. I can't say that.
I told her no, she stormed out and told me she wasn't driving me home and that she wasn't taking me to my appointments anymore. I completely stopped leaving the house after this. I remember for that entire appointment, despite being used to this sort of behavior from my grandma, I was crying uncontrollably because I knew that even though I didn't live with my parents anymore, I still wasn't safe from the abuse I've received my entire life. My grandma said a lot of hurtful things. I don't remember most of them, but I know that because I don't remember them, it was very not good. I do, however, remember her defending.
I get what you're saying, because this disassociation, whatever. Oh god. I know she hurt me because I don't remember it. I get, like, you know, blanking out and forgetting stuff, but when you say that you're gonna provide evidence, you don't just provide testimony. You gotta, like, show stuff, or I don't know, it's different because, you know, it's in real life. You can't just pull out a camera. I get it. I don't know. I don't like speculating about abuse and stuff like that. It's just knowing that he lies and, like, over-exaggerates what's going on. It just makes you look at everything again, and it's just like, are you sure that's what happened? Because
defending my parents for abusing me and kicking me out, and telling me that she regretted not letting me become homeless, and that she was quote-unquote rewarding me for my behavior by giving me a safe place to stay, because it was my own fault I was kicked out, apparently. I remember her saying that I was
because it was your fault you got kicked out, but slay. Oh god, I don't understand him. Slay, sister. Beat up your family. Slay, sister. Yes. Yes, king. Pop off. Like, no.
was manipulating her into letting me stay at her house. I remember her threatening to send me to the mental hospital involuntarily so she wouldn't have to deal with me anymore, because I relapsed back into self-harm and she thought this would be a good excuse to have me institutionalized. Honestly, I'm still suffering the effects from the psychotic episode to this day. Obviously, the psychosis is just something that I live with, but some of that paranoia still lingers. Obviously, I was extremely paranoid before this too, but after the events of the past year, I don't think I'll ever be the same. So, I had no options left, and my other family members straight up wouldn't let me stay with them. I tried to explain the situation to all of them, but none of them had a grasp on mental illness and essentially told me to just get over it or power through it. So now I had to go to a homeless shelter. It wasn't a regular homeless shelter though, it was a homeless shelter / mentoring program, which basically means that it's a homeless shelter except with responsibilities, and the owner basically chooses your life path for you, with the threat of sending you to a lesser homeless shelter if you didn't follow through with the goals he set up for you. Perfect environment for an abused, burnt out, mentally ill, paranoid dude, right? So this all went about as well for me as you could guess. I was surrounded by other homeless people with no privacy. I was too paranoid to go outside, and I barely had any money, so I couldn't get myself groceries, and I basically began to starve. Most days, all I ate was a granola bar or two, and some days I didn't even eat at all. I stopped showering because the living space was so dirty that I didn't feel clean after showering anymore. I was in an unsafe area.
Not trying to pick or speculate, but don't they literally have, like, free food at homeless shelters? I don't know. I used to volunteer for the Salvation Army. They literally had, like, a whole food pantry and a kitchen. Maybe this was just, like, a housing shelter or something like that, but I could have sworn that most of them at least provide something so they can have meals. I don't know. I'm sure they had something to at least feed them. I probably just didn't have what he specifically wanted because, you know, autism, so he didn't eat it or whatever. If I was starving, I'd fucking eat it anyways. I'm sorry. There's a lot of shit I hate to eat, but I'd eat it if I had no other option. It's that or be on the streets and, like, eat rats or something.
People would pizza bomb the place, and there would be police outside with loaded rifles, and literally everybody would laugh it off while I hid in my room and had a panic attack. One day I got too scared to drink the water because of how dirty the sink was, and I came dangerously close to passing out due to dehydration. I began to lose weight I didn't want to lose due to the lack of food. I was barely sleeping, too. I texted my grandma one day to ask if I could have some food in her house that I knew nobody was eating, and she got mad at me and told me not to blow up her phone asking for help ever again. I essentially rotted in my room there every day, and not a single person cared. This isn't even mentioning the transphobia I experienced at the shelter. Literally everybody there would keep misgendering me, including my lesbian roommate. Like, dude, you're LGBTQ, you should know better. The owner introduced me to everyone with my dead name behind my back for literally no reason. Like, there wasn't even a legal reason for him to do this. On my last day there, the owner admitted he called me Jack instead of using my pronouns because, quote, it's annoying how often trans people change their pronouns and it's too hard to keep track of. And then he proceeded to mansplain the concept of transphobia to me and that some people may not agree with your lifestyle and you just have to let those people misgender you. And I had to agree with him because I didn't want to be the annoying tranny who stands up for his own rights because that would have pissed him off for sure. So yeah, I think the month that I lived at the homeless shelter was the
Yeah, agreeing to bring him food and water stuff. So he's not really... If he was starving... Oh my god. Whatever.
The angriest I'd ever been in my whole life. My family abandoned me, people online were harassing me, there was nobody to save me, the people at the shelter left me to rot, and nobody even cared at all. I couldn't even cry about it because I had zero privacy. I was completely alone and I was seething with rage. I knew I needed to get the hell out of that place before I ended up killing myself, so I contacted my Nana. I told her about my situation and she offered to come pick me up. I arranged for her and her husband to come pick me up and house me, and I didn't tell anybody in my family or anybody at the shelter until the day before she was showing up because I knew they would try to keep me at the shelter. Of course, when I told the rest of my family, they were pissed. So my Nana arrived and I got the hell out of there. I began staying at her place, and I quickly realized this was a really bad idea. They had me live in their garage, and the room that they placed me in had no locks and no doors. My Nana and her husband very quickly became abusive. Her husband would yell at me.
No locks and no doors. Isn't it a fucking garage? It's not like they can renovate something for you. What if they didn't have room? They're trying to make sure you're not homeless. They're helping you. They're helping you.
Me and shove me and tug on my clothes and chase me into my room. I would hide under the bed from him, but he would just keep yelling. He would call me retarded and swear at me and yell. Every time I would go nonverbal, he would start screaming at me, and my Nana would ask me why I wasn't normal, and she would enable him by telling him I was doing it on purpose because I didn't like him, which is rich coming from her, considering she also suffers from autism and BPD and psychosis as well. Like, why aren't you normal, Karen? You guys have no idea how long I've wanted to make that joke. Her name is actually Karen. Anyways, her husband would threaten to kick me out literally every week, and this is when I started making plans for my current roommate to pick me up because I was in an urgent situation. My Nana wasn't.
Thank you, Vivisection. First super tier on a live stream. The situation is insane. I'm not gonna call it the birdie situation is insane. That's awful. Everyone besides him is the abuser. Pretty much. Find it wild he will air out other people's private information when he doesn't like them anymore. Yeah. But he won't do it when it comes to actually prove his claims about someone. He'll just be like, yeah, I can prove the stuff that's actually true, but the stuff that's not true, I'm too traumatized to find, sorry.
Much better than her husband. She would disrespect my boundaries physically and would grab me, and she would allow her husband to yell at me and she would defend him. Every week when her husband would threaten to kick me out, I would present options of places for me to stay. I told her I could stay at a motel until my roommate came to pick me up, and she would come up with all sorts of bullshit to prevent me from having a safe place to stay. I would give her options, but she would say weird shit like she could take me to Oregon so I could live at her unfinished beach house despite her being unable to drive. She offered to buy a house in my hometown so I could stay there. She told me to just get an apartment by myself. Like, come on, in this economy, with the disabilities that I have, being unemployed.
We're brushing over the fact that he just said that she was going to buy him a beach house or a house. She was probably gonna try and help him get an apartment too. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Crazy. Beach house. I want a beach house. Where's my beach house? My mama dead. I got a small ass apartment. Where's my beach house? You are so lucky. But you victimize yourself to the point that you're unwilling to like take up other people's offers, but you expect them to do everything for you. It's weird. You never really show gratitude, and it's starting to show in this video too. Vinny complained about this stuff too. He was all like, oh yeah, I never showed gratitude. Like, here we go. It's okay, Goat. I will get you a beach house. Please do it. I want a beach house so bad. Chat. Where's my beach house? Where's my beach house? I want a beach house. Oh my god.
Employed? It'd be easier to cure cancer by mixing a shampoo potion together. I told her everything I said here about the homeless shelter and that was not an option. I had options on where to stay, but she straight up refused to let me go safely. She forced me to go back to the homeless shelter one day. I didn't have a
Wait, let me go back. Did I miss something?
this economy, with the disabilities that I have, being under a safe place to stay. I would give her options, but she would say weird shit like she could take me to Oregon so I could live at her unfinished beach house despite her being unable to drive. She offered to buy a house in my hometown so I could stay there. She told me to just get an apartment by myself. Like, come on, in this economy, with the disabilities that I have, being unemployed, it'd be easier to cure cancer by mixing a shampoo potion together. I told her everything I said here about the homeless shelter and that was not an option. I had options on where to stay, but she straight up refused to let me go safely. She forced me to go back to the homeless shelter one day. I didn't have a choice because I had no method of transportation. There weren't any public buses in the area. I was literally in the middle of nowhere, by the way. My options were going back to the shelter or being left to the streets of this nowhere neighborhood and either starving to death or getting killed by coyotes. I got so desperate I texted my mom and my grandma for help, and my grandma told me that it was my fault for being kicked out again and yada yada, and to
You say your parents can't handle you. Nobody can handle you. I think you need to put some work into trying not to be so much to handle. You burned your bridges here. Telling people you didn't feel safe here was incredibly underhanded and hurtful. If you don't want to get kicked out, you should talk to Nana and Jean about what you can do to deserve to stay there. What do they need to see from you? How can you prove yourself? Are you willing to try? Or you can ask shelter owner for help and put in more effort there. At least you wouldn't be homeless. Notice that everyone around him has said the same thing about how he behaves. He's too much to handle. He doesn't put effort into the things that he needs to put effort into unless it's into something revolving the internet because he's too obsessed and attached to that. But when it comes to taking care of himself, he makes excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. How does he know if he's never tried? I don't mean to be ignorant. I just don't get it. I'm autistic myself, and I'm unhealthy, but I'm a fast food manager, and I have my own apartment because I don't have learned helplessness. Yeah, I might vent a lot because I'm mentally ill, but I don't sit around on my ass all day and just be all like, I can't go to work because I have this, I think. I'm mentally ill, so I can't do this, I think. I'm gonna mistreat you and let my anger out on you because I refuse to go to therapy and properly sort out my issues properly and shit like that. So I'm just gonna lash out at people and take advantage of them and admit to being manipulative later down the line. But we're gonna ignore that because, I'm a victim, but, whatever. I don't know if that made sense, but I'm just rambling. Basically, he's fake.
Called the owner of the shelter so I could go back. My mom told me to go back to the shelter too. I told them both why that wasn't an option and that I needed somewhere to stay where I had a basic level of assistance because on my own I would literally starve to death, and my mom told me it would be fine and that her and my grandma would help me get groceries and get to my appointments. Where was that kind of help I needed a few months ago? Why are you all of a sudden willing to help me? Well, I didn't have a choice, so I called the owner of the shelter and asked if I could get back in. Fuck. Sorry, Squirt. The thing is, my nana and her husband threatened to kick me out so often that I made plans for my roommate to come pick me up on November 4th. Due to this information, the owner rejected me and told me I couldn't go back to the shelter. Well, I couldn't stay at my nana's house for obvious reasons, so I had to go back to my parents' house. I'm not even kidding. I stayed there for a little less than a week until my roommate was able to drive from Missouri to Washington to pick me up.
I love how he victimizes himself on this too. He's like, oh my god, my family, who doesn't even know this person, who lives in an entirely different state, is upset at the fact that I'm gonna let them come pick me up and live with them in an entirely different state, possibly? What? That doesn't really make sense. If I was a parent, and my child said that some bitch from across the country was gonna come pick them up and live with them, I would be like, dude, that's not a good idea. Especially if you didn't know them for that long, and you've never even met them in person. It's just, oh yeah, you know me online, you know me on Discord, whatever. Come live with me. Girl, that could be a predator, you never know. I don't blame your parents for being concerned. Wasn't a good idea. She ended up being a predator.
For those curious, my roommate is CindyBear03, another animation memer, furry, previous Sans fangirl. What are the chances? As of writing this, we've been living together for almost 2 months. We've known each other through the internet since we were kids, and we used to watch each other's videos on a regular basis, so it is incredibly surreal knowing that we ended up living together. But like, good surreal. I honestly don't know what I would have done without her. I know for sure I would have been homeless on the streets. It's hard to express how grateful I am to have this opportunity and to have a friend like this in general, because I've never experienced this kind of love and care and compassion until now. But I am incredibly grateful to have a chance at life, and it's all because of Cindy. Everyone in her life was telling her not to come get me, but she went out of her way to save me regardless. We had a nice road trip. We were in the car for about 2 days. We snuggled up under some blankets and watched YouTube videos, ate snacks, listened to music, talked about things, and took naps on each other. We were homeless for a few days, but her friend provided us a place to sleep until we could move into our apartment. And now we're here. We have our own place, and we're happy. Not once in my entire life did I ever think I would have a future like this. Like, up until now, I had never been in a safe environment, so I had no concept of that ever becoming a reality. I fantasized about a future like this since I was very little, and now I'm here. I'm still mentally ill, I'm still struggling, I'm still healing from my past, but I'm happy and I'm safe, and I have a chance at life. I've never had that before. And I never could have done that without Cindy. She saved my life. Holy shit, I did not mean to ramble that much. Well, time to ramble some more. So, I am notoriously known for not being good at interneting. Like, emotional outbursts, constant venting, oversharing personal information, things like that. The reason I joined the internet in the first place at 11 years old is because I wasn't loved at home, and I was being abused at school too. I had a warped view of the internet, only being a child, and I believed that all of my viewers would act as friends. I believed that I could display my emotional issues to the public.
But you literally had, oh, birdie fans and obsessive birdie fans don't interact with me, blah, blah, blah. And you literally criticized Cindy Bear for, like, having, underage fans be their friend. When you had underage fans be your friend in 2023. And then into 2024. I don't really understand that, but continue.
And be comforted by strangers because my parents would not provide this for me. I began to get popular online at 12, but I received negative attention instead of the comfort and positivity that I wanted, and it broke me. I was trapped between worlds. I couldn't stay on the internet because it was killing me, but I also couldn't leave the internet because my home life was killing me. So I chose escapism, despite how much it was hurting me. During the times when I would have my internet forcefully taken away, my psychotic symptoms would get worse. So even if I ever chose to leave the internet, it would significantly decrease my quality of life. I would have
How much does he yap about himself and how mentally ill he is? We get it. Yes, our over-explaining king. Oh my god.
public outbursts here because the internet was my life and I didn't have anybody IRL to confide in. And even when I did, they would talk about me on the internet or watch videos about me. My own parents did this, which is hilarious. Like, I'm pretty sure they watched birdie rants together on their TV. This is like cartoon villainy. And even when issues were kept private between friends, well, all of my friends were online friends, and they were only friends with me because I'm infamous here and they wanted a piece of it. So
why is it at 2 times speed and it's still not fast enough for me? This is awful, but what? Okay.
So they would leak screenshots of my personal issues and call it drama, and I'd get harassed for it. This is still continuing to this day with my ex-friends because they get gratification and support for hurting me and spreading lies. But again, I will get into this later. The internet raised me. My parents were completely absent, and whenever they were there, they showed me anger and they disliked me for who I was. But I'm not with them anymore. I'm safe and I'm happy. I've made significant progress in getting better too. Before I moved to Missouri, I had been going to therapy for almost a year, and I was working with my psychiatrist to treat my mental illness. I have a support system that I know I can trust and rely on, and even though I'm basically starting from square one, with being in a safe environment for the first time, I've been getting better. Even years before this, I've made active efforts to better myself as a person and keep an open mind and learn from my mistakes at any chance I get.
Wrong. You're a liar. Oh, you're a liar, you're a liar, you're a liar. Chat, what's this? That's always him with the way out. I never had that. Not even in the last moments of our friendship. He was the one with all the say in what happens. I wanted to prove that I could be a good friend to him without emotionally manipulating him or draining him, because I know I have that capability. But he doesn't believe that, nor does he care. I wanted to prove to him that I could stop hurting him. You still didn't change. You literally would admit to being the abuser so many times. Ooh. Oh my god. You're stupid.
Yet, I can confidently say that I have improved significantly. I've had plenty of time to grow, reflect, heal, and change as a person. And I'm really excited for you all to meet the new me. I'm ready for you all to enjoy my art, and I hope that the harassment surrounding me that has been normalized will finally stop. Let's normalize having fun on the internet instead, okay? I want this channel to be a platform that spreads positivity and awareness about mental health, and fun art for people to enjoy. But before I'm able to post things again, I would first like to dispel some things and take responsibility for the birdie drama. After this video, I don't want to talk about birdie drama ever again, but I do want to talk about it here for the last time to clear the air, and to apologize for everyone I've hurt. So let's delve into tier 1 of the hashtag birdie drama iceberg. Okay, I'm going to be serious again. Truthfully, I don't owe any of you an explanation for the things that have happened. I've stayed quiet about it on my platform up until now because I frankly want nothing to do.
Hey, who was that girl who was joking around and wasn't serious about the grooming allegations against her from Streamline Workshop? Oh my god, I almost burped. And she pretended to be Nachito or Nagito. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. I don't pronounce anything right. But she was like, so, I'm being called a groomer, right? She didn't take it seriously. He's not taking anything about this seriously, and he's just like, me. I'm so mentally ill. Me. Evil autism. Bazinga. Shut up and get. Oh my god. You don't care, bro. That's why you don't admit to anything in here. You're gonna drive me crazy.
Do with it at all, and I never have. I never talked about it because it scared me, but I've decided to come out here and talk about what happened today because the vast majority of the controversy surrounding me is false, and I believe a lot of you are simply misled or confused about the information. My therapist told me about a concept once that really stuck with me. It's called the curse of knowledge bias. She explained to me that although I know that birdie drama consists of lies and exaggerations, and I know that my parents abused me, and I know that my ex-friends are lying about me and trying to publicize personal issues, and I know that I've been taken advantage of by everybody involved in this, nobody else knows, and I'm frustrated because you cannot see what's so obvious to me. So it's time for me to tell everybody the truth, so you can all understand. Let me be clear, I still do not want anything to do with birdie drama. I would not like this drama to be continuously dragged on going forward. A lot of it makes me feel genuinely unsafe. My intention is to address the events that the public is concerned with, disprove the information, apologize for the genuine hurt that I've caused, take accountability, and then move on. And I know, this sounds like the most generic YouTuber thing.
Take accountability and move on, but you didn't take accountability. You blamed everybody but yourself because you're a fucking jackass.
Ever, coming out about allegations from years ago and apologizing for it only now. I genuinely hope I do not come across as condescending in this video for those reasons. I've waited so long because this shit is scary, I was on hiatus, I just didn't know what to say for the longest time, and people just generally don't believe me about these things. I wasn't ready to talk about it before.
Maybe people don't believe you about this stuff because you don't ever provide actually valid evidence, and then you're like, oh my god, it must be lost. But don't believe them, even though they have so much concrete evidence about him being a piece of shit and abuser. But he's like, no, they're lying, they're twisting the narrative.
The harassment I've experienced from these events have hurt me, my family, my friends, and have quite literally taken my childhood away from me, and this damage is irreversible. But I've decided to address it because I need you all to understand that this needs to stop, and why. I'm not the one perpetuating this. I have been out of the public eye for 2 years, and this has still continued. I understand that I cannot change everyone's minds, because while I believe that a large portion of the people discussing this are misled, there's also a large portion who have the intent to cause genuine harm to me because they enjoy it. I also understand that some of the things I've done are genuinely unforgivable, and if you feel uncomfortable or unsafe viewing my content because of
But you don't ever fully admit to the unforgivable things you did because you know that if you did admit, your career would actually be over. Carry on.
that, you don't have to stick around. So now you're probably wondering, which parts are misinformation and which parts are true? I'm going to list off all of these events in order, so we'll get into the serious stuff later on. But for now, let's start from the beginning, shall we? So, do you guys remember when I was 12 years old and I drew a porn depicting pedophilia? And instead of being concerned or wondering if I was okay, everyone got mad at me for it, and it ended up being the first thing that canceled me in the public eye? Good times. You know I was groomed by Kitty Dog, right?
What starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Okay, I know, that was a total curveball. If you aren't aware of who Kitty
Okay, I want to talk about something here. Okay, this is draining to talk about, oh my god. So he's sitting over here claiming that Kitty Dog groomed him whenever he was 12 and she was 14, and because of the fact that she was the bigger YouTuber, that she should have known that she had more power and influence over him. But he's glossing over the fact that he had a power dynamic with this 13-year-old he dated at 16, which, keep in mind, they're what? Still a minor, they're 16, 17 now, while Jack is 20. Imagine if they had continued to date, if the minor hadn't broken it off, mind you. And when the minor tried to go to Jack about people saying that they were probably being groomed by him, which They were being groomed by other people on a different server, unfortunately, and they had been for years, from what we know. Does Jack take them seriously or try to dispute the allegations in a calm, civil manner that doesn't reflect upon his 2019 self, which, as you've seen in my DMs, he gets super defensive and he's like, "You're a fucking white knight," or some shit like that. God. Dear God. I don't get it. You're mature for your age. Yeah, he's all like, "Oh, guys, I had psychosis. I wasn't able to think properly for myself." But he was still able to, like, comfort them and be like, "You know what? I think you're mature for your age. That's what makes you a perfect partner." It was a 2-year age gap. He and Julian had a 2-year age gap to LMAO, and Dragy is worse. Dragy was 13, Birdie was 16. What are you talking about? Maybe I'm just misreading what you're saying. Let me scroll up. Anyways, he claims that he didn't groom Dragy because he's all like, "Yeah, that little 13-year-old was the one who was like manipulative and blah 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 blah." And he goes on to say that they have a grooming fetish, and he puts this on blast for everyone to hear, which is fucked up. But even though he knows that Dragy looked up to him, he's just all like, "Well, I didn't groom them because blah 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 blah." You might not have done the grooming in a sexual way, but oh yeah, the rape content with Dragy too. Yeah, talking about how he wanted to rape his ex in front of Dragy, knowing their age in the server. Wasn't that 2019 server, I think? Something like that. But anyways, what was I saying? I lost track. He acts like he didn't groom them. It's crazy. Anyways, what was I saying? It was something about specific grooming. Okay, so he didn't groom them for necessarily sexual favors or anything like that, but Jack is known for replacing partners. He uses people as rebounds, and he uses people for emotional support and validation because he wants someone close to him to be his yes man. And as soon as you don't agree with what he's saying, he kicks you out. I would know because I was his yes man. I was friends with the yes man, and then every time you actually like have like guilt or express to him that what he's doing isn't okay, it's always, "You're abusing me, guys. Fuck this guy. Let's talk about raping them. Let's stalk them. Let's like blame them for every small thing and frame them as the master manipulator." Like, come on.
Kitty Dog is, which would be shocking if you weren't. She's this super duper popular animation memer who makes very sexual videos. I'm totally not surprised that this happened. And when I was 11 to 12 years old, she was basically my idol. I made a shit ton of videos about her, and she commented on them asking me to join Discord, and you can see where this is going. I'm not gonna get into the details right now because it's genuinely traumatic for me, but I will include some screenshots in this section as I elaborate. Anyways, this shouldn't have been drama in the first place, but Kitty Dog encouraged me to make drawings like those, and that's why they exist. I know a few of you are probably gonna say this as some sort of counter argument, so I'd like to acknowledge it. The age gap wasn't like huge. I was 12 and she was 14, but like, let's not get caught up in the logistics of grooming. I am not misusing the word. I can confidently say that this is what this was. There was a huge power dynamic. Kitty Dog was aware of the power she had over me, being a massive creator that I looked up to, and I was not old enough to consent to these things. I was 12.
He never shows proof that, Kitty Dog was aware of the power dynamic, but whatever. A yes man is someone who always, like, enables you, regardless of what you're doing, even if it's wrong.
Another thing to bring into consideration is that apparently Kitty Dog was also being groomed during this time period, but this still doesn't excuse her behavior, especially when we consider COCSA to be a trauma response, which stands for child-on-child sexual abuse. And yes, sexual abuse can be accounted for under messaging like Kitty Dog did. I'm aware of the fact people are still going to defend Kitty Dog in this situation, but at least acknowledge the impact this had on me as a kid. This led to the first time I got into big internet drama, and Kitty Dog completely threw me under the bus when this went down, despite encouraging me to draw art like this prior to it being publicized. She essentially made fun of me for being harassed while still pretending to be my friend. Later, when I was 13, she began drawing NSFW art at my sonas while also acknowledging that I was uncomfortable with it, but assumed that I would allow an exception for her because she's a popular creator that I looked up to. I consented to her drawing porn of me, but it was only because I was scared scared to say no. She started drawing NSFW art of me that depicted her sexually assaulting me, using a sona she made to represent her obsession with me, while she was dating someone else, might I add. I was very uncomfortable. A year later, when I was 14, I vented to someone telling them how uncomfortable I was with her drawing this art of me, and I sent some of it to them. They ended up leaking it, and Kitty Dog found out, and she got mad at me. I will acknowledge that I should have communicated to her myself that I was uncomfortable, but then again, I was scared to say no, and I didn't know how to communicate efficiently at that age, and I didn't intend for it to be leaked, nor did I anticipate that. She told me she was upset because the art was posted on my Encyclopedia Dramatica page, which I'm honestly still angry about because, like, she wasn't harassed from what I saw, or at the bare minimum held accountable for her actions. It was brushed aside as birdie drama, and I got the blame for it because I consented, despite me not being old enough to. It was my Encyclopedia Dramatica page. It was posted for the purpose of lolcowing me, not her. I have no idea what she's like as a person now, but I can't forgive her. She has acknowledged what she did to me, but she never made an effort to apologize to me. In her card, she expresses remorse for having hurt people in the past and vaguely apologizes publicly, but she never apologized to me. I'm not attempting to defame her or cancel her. Like I said, I don't even know her anymore. I just want to be honest about her treatment towards me so you can all get like a full picture of the birdie drama. Now, this wasn't as bad as the other times I've been groomed, but it still had a huge effect on the way that my brain developed. I needed to understand that animation meme community was a breeding ground for grooming to take place. These kinds of videos were made for a child audience, and adults in this community never called this out or took any action. A lot of the adults here took advantage of people like me, and they failed people like me. I was that resulted in this is pretty funny sometimes.
I was not expecting that jump scare. Oh my god. I'm not trying to be dramatic. But what the hell was that? I wasn't expecting this. I was trying to lock in and listen, and then I see that. Oh my god. It shows without warning. To be fair, at the beginning it did warn what type of content was in the video, but like at the same time I wasn't expecting to be flashed like that. I'm more so just like caught off guard. It's like, what the fuck?
Because the main argument that renters use is that it was illegal for me to draw porn at 12 years old. I'm sorry, but have you ever met a 12-year-old that hasn't drawn porn? If that were illegal, we'd live in some sort of dystopian society where anyone under the age of 18 would be locked up. While this is funny to me now, this was extremely traumatic to go through as a child. This was the first time I had been harassed to this degree, and as a result of this, my address was leaked for the first time. Files were contacting me, which resulted in me being groomed at least 5 more times. People were making threats to me, and my life was just ruined. Something interesting I'd like to mention, which I think is a nice segue into our next topic. Do you remember Vontic, my partner at the time? He was the one who leaked to the NSFW art in the first place, which I honestly can't fault him much for considering he was 11, and it wasn't his fault that other people decided this was enough basis to harass me over or make videos about. But he leaked the NSFW images to a birdie hate server with the intention of ruining my life, he told me. I don't have proof of this, unfortunately, because he said this during one of my live streams in 2017, which is now lost media. But the disturbing factor of this is that his intention of, quote, ruining my life never went away. He's 18 now. Let's talk about him. I'm gonna be straightforward with this. Malachi is a groomer, neo-Nazi, racist, pro-shipper, school shooter idolizer, abuser, and manipulator. There are already a ton of videos about this out there, so I'm not gonna go too in-depth. I would really like to stay away from him so I could be getting something.
Tea time. Okay, so I need to warn you guys, if anybody is uncomfortable with the mentions, well, I mean, this is birdie. We already talked about rape and stuff like that, but this is gonna have, like, rape threats, murder threats, stuff like that. He continues the violent behavior, not necessarily the rape stuff, I guess, unless somebody shows proof of that, but continued it into 2023, 24. Let me show you what he said about Heimguts. Shit, where's the Mega Drive? What the hell? Oh, there's me. Hello. Okay, maybe I can find it in here. Damn it, where's the fucking... Where's the screenshots? God. 431 results. I only occasionally talked about Heimguts. La 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 la. Oh, here it is. She constantly defended Heim. One of the times she even caused me to have a really bad breakdown. Plus, it doesn't make sense because she talked about all her exes all the time, so what's wrong with a few time jokes every once in a while? This is about me. Because I was like, hey, don't raid their stream and dox them. What the fuck is wrong with you? Only occasionally, huh? That boy's a liar. But whatever, I guess. Not important. I'm trying to find something else. Because he used to talk about, like, mutilating. Oh, proof of the doxing. Here you go. He used to talk about mutilating Heimguts' genitals and stuff like that. It was crazy. Jaime White Knight, blah, 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 blah. What? Ew. Whatever. Just look it up yourselves. I don't care. Let's continue.
Things wrong here, but basically, this dude is bad news, and this isn't surprising to me at all. Again, like the kitty dog stuff, this is probably shocking to a lot of.
No, it wasn't about Julian. It was in the 2019 server too. He was talking about like calling Heim's stuff disgusting and talking about raping them and stuff like that. It's crazy. That's what I'm trying to talk about. I just don't have the specific drive on me. It's only on my phone for some reason.
Of you. Malachi managed to get my entire audience on his side for a long time while manipulating me and gaslighting me for several years. We dated 8 times, I believe, and he took advantage of me sexually. He created an alt account so that he could interact with me. Weirdly enough, while taking advantage of me, he compared himself to my groomer.
You took advantage of me. Oh my god. I want you to do so many things for me, but I'm not saying that. That's weird. Well, at least you're not forcing me to do anything. Okay, moving on, I guess.
Multiple times. And I'm talking about like the big bad one, not like kitty dog. He would ask me what my groomer would force me to do because he thought it was sexy, and for some reason he asked me to unblock my groomer. I don't remember why though, so the reasoning was probably very traumatic for me. He was aware, and for some reason he asked me to unblock my.
That's obviously not good. Damn. I'm not gonna say that Heim wasn't disgusting. But he left out a lot of what he did. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Contextualize the situation. He would also ask me to draw porn of his characters with the purpose of leaking it and framing me as a groomer, which he admitted to me himself. By the way, he's literally 1 year younger than me. I've lost proof of the majority of these conversations because he would instigate sexual conversations with me on an alternate account that I no longer have access to, and he deleted a few of the messages of him being sexual on his main account so I wouldn't be able to come out about this in the future, which I think should be enough evidence that he's aware that he deleted a few of the messages of him being sexual on his main account so I wouldn't be able to come out about this in the future, which I think should be enough evidence that he's aware that he did something wrong and felt the need to censor it so that he could continue to manipulate my audience to come out about this in the future. Which I think should be enough evidence that he's aware that he did something wrong and felt the need to censor it so that he could continue to manipulate my audience, while also preventing me from coming out about my experiences with him. He would gather information through some of my friends at the time to try to convince me my nightmares were real and that he could see everything I did. I made a video on the Chrysophobia vent account explaining to everyone that Malachi and his friends hacked into my computer and everybody dogpiled me for lying, but I wasn't lying. This is just one of the things that he made me believe. Again, I was diagnosed with psychotic symptoms, so I experienced that consistently, but because of him I was in the middle of a bad psychotic break. During this time period, he actively worsened my delusions because it was fun to him. I need you to understand that he is not the victim in this situation, nor has he ever been a good person, but I would like to take accountability for my behavior towards him. When I was 12 to 15 years old, I had an intense obsession with him, which included me archiving all of his art and making videos about him constantly and sexualizing him, stealing his OCs, borderline stalking him, doxing him, and encouraging harassment of him. This is something that I believe that I genuinely needed to be held accountable for, and thank you to all of you who did, but the harassment and encouraging harassment and making videos about him constantly behavior towards him. When I was 12, I need you to understand that he is not the victim in this situation, nor has he ever been a good person, but I would like to take accountability for my behavior.
He's not the victim in this situation, but I talked about murdering him, raping him multiple times. I talked about wanting to track him down. But he's not the victim. Even if your relationship was toxic, you were giving him ammo to victimize himself in your eyes. Yes, he's the victim here. You're fucking batshit crazy.
Behavior towards him. When I was 12 to 15 years old, I had an intense obsession with him, which included me archiving all of his art and making videos about him constantly and sexualizing him, stealing his OCs, borderline stalking him, doxing him, and encouraging harassment of him. This is something that I believe that I genuinely needed to be held accountable for, and thank you to all of you who did, but the harassment that I received because of this was not okay. I have apologized to him in private for my behavior, and everything in the past has been resolved on my end. I'm saying on my end because he never apologized to me or even acknowledged what he did, so thanks for that. Speaking of harassment, I encourage you not to harass him either. I know I said at the beginning of this video not to harass anyone mentioned here regardless, but people like him thrive off of negative attention, and I don't want anything to do with him going forward. Please be normal on the internet. It'd be so awesome. It would be so cool. Also, one thing I want to add before I end this section is, I didn't put this in the script, but I think it's important to bring up that Malachi, at his current age, with the influence he has over people, is a groomer and has taken advantage of many people. But something really weird about this is that the people he tends to choose as his victims either have like delusional attachments to me or are like copying me in some way. So he, like, in particular, goes after people that are trying to be me. And that's just fucking weird. I think we can all acknowledge that. Okay, next section.
That sounds like a stretch. Everything is about me. Remember when you used to freak out because, Heimguts, I remember it was in 2019 too. You would freak the fuck out and encourage people to dox them and send them rape threats and murder threats and stuff like that just because they happened to share similar interests that you also liked. And you're like, no, you can't like that. Guys, tell them to slit their wrists right now. Okay, Jack, we'll do that. Are you gonna mention that? Whatever. Yep, the Rayman meme. He was like, you can't like fucking Rayman, I'm gonna kill you. It was crazy.
So, moving forward, there are 2 livestream clips from 2017 of me threatening suicide to my dad, and another of my mom confronting me for giving out my address to somebody online. I'm not going to play either of these clips because they were of me as a child being put in abusive situations and having an emotional response, so they're deeply triggering for me. But these clips are out there, and you can search for them if you want, I guess. I just want to say it was not okay for me to threaten suicide to my dad. Nobody should ever do this as a tactic to get what they want, and although it took several years, I've recently grown out of this behavior. But I want everybody to understand.
Recently. No, you didn't. 2024, 2023, 2022, 21, 2019, 18, 17. What do you mean you grew out of it? Grew out of it, my fucking ass. The only thing you grew out is fucking bullshit, dude. God damn. Wipe your ass. You're so fucking full of shit, dude.
And I was 12 years old. I was a child and my parents did not love me. They never paid attention to me, and I learned that the only way they would take me seriously is if I threatened suicide. This came from a genuine place of suicidal ideation too, so it never came across as a manipulation tactic to me until I took my hiatus and thought about my actions throughout my life. Another thing to consider is that I have BPD.
But you literally suicide... You did that shit to me and you said, I'm sorry, this is what I did to Vinny. So that means you knew what you were doing, and you're also admitting that while you were on the hiatus, which you never took a hiatus... What was that other place called? It was like a different thing to Discord. It was like, it started with a G or something like that. You were on that too. You never really took a break from the internet. You just found new ways to like get online, but you just talk to people and hurt people in private. But you think that, oh, because nothing's been released in a while, I'm all clear. Not Telegram, it was something else. No, not Google Plus. Was it like Trinket Box? I don't remember. Toshi, you gotta help me out with this. I feel like you were on there too. I just can't remember it. I'm struggling. Gilded! It was Gilded! He was on there too. I remember! Thank you so much. It was Gilded. Yes. He was on there for a good bit before he returned to Discord fully. No! It's like some weird alternative Discord thing. It's crazy. There was still drama that went down in the Gilded servers. That shit was crazy. I don't remember entirely everything, but it was pretty much the same themes as it always was. Nobody's fucking surprised.
And one of the Symptoms of my disorder is literally suicidal threats and gestures along with self-harm. This is a facet of my disorder, but I've gotten much better at not having suicidal outbursts. And I can admit that although I've improved, I still feel suicidal at times, but I try to express it in a manner that does not come across as manipulative. The reason I told my dad I was going to kill myself was because I was live streaming at 3 a.m. and I didn't realize this was something I wasn't supposed to do. So my dad walked in and told me to stop, and I said I would. He came back later on because I was taking too long and told me he was going to cut off the Wi-Fi, and
I thought y'all had like strict rules, whatever.
Interpreted what he said, and I believed he was going to cut off my internet access forever, and I told him if he did that, I would kill myself. I didn't want to be alive if my escapism was taken away, so I lashed out. I didn't mute during either of these live streams because I was caught up in the moment, and I wanted people to sympathize with me. I truly believed that if people saw my emotional responses to these situations, that I would be pitied, which is something that I always confuse for love.
What? Can we play that back? Does that sound weird to anybody else?
One of the symptoms of my disorder is literally suicidal threats and gestures along with self-harm. This is a facet of my disorder, but I've gotten much better at not having suicidal outbursts. And I can admit that although I've improved, I still feel suicidal at times, but I try to express it in a manner that does not come across as manipulative. The reason I told my dad I was going to kill myself was because I was live streaming at 3 a.m. and I didn't realize this was something I wasn't supposed to do, so my dad walked in and told me to stop, and I said I would. He came back later on because I was taking too long and told me he was going to cut off the Wi-Fi, and I misinterpreted what he said, and I believed he was going to cut off my internet access forever, and I told him if he did that, I would kill myself. I didn't want to be alive if my escapism was taken away, so I lashed out. I didn't mute during either of these live streams because I was caught.
If you turn... Do I really have to look this up? Oh my god. I'm not gonna do it. It's okay. It's not me. It's not me. Please. My mouse is lagging. Oh no. Okay. Show anyways. Not you. Not you. Oh my god, I can't believe I have to look this up. But breaking anime. Oh no. If you turn off the Wi-Fi, I'm going to kill myself. Dude, why is my thing lagging so bad? Oh my god, it's me. That's scary. Fuck. Okay. Is this it?
2 children that she has?
Her name is not Birdie, it's Polly. Can you just give our address to Doge Dust?
Stop! No, that's not the one. That's not the one. That's the Doge Dust one. I think that's the Doge Dust one. I can't do this one. Where is it? I don't want the address one. Where's the Wi-Fi one? Isn't that the same one? No, they were talking about his dad coming in. And him being all like, it was there. Okay, never mind then. I just really hate that speaker.
2 children that she has?
Her name is not Birdie, it's Polly. Give her
Birdie, it's Polly.
Just trying to be, I'm just trying not to
my mom is coming down here, hold on. Did you just give our address to Doge Dust? No. Did you give our address to any? Did you just give our address to Doge Dust? No. Did you give our address to anybody online? No.
2 children that she has?
We gotta mute ourselves.
What?
Is it this one?
Triggered.
Yes.
I'm not even here to hate on you. I just want to talk with you guys.
Talk with
Well, you're
us,
not going
nah.
to if you enter, like...
You're gonna talk with us with a bunch of other people here? Nah,
Yeah.
no, I don't think.
I'm not
Yeah,
even
we
gonna
weren't
do
born.
anything bad.
We weren't born yesterday, furry lesbian. Why do you not realize that, broski?
And my mom is talking too loud. I will be.
Toxikai! Oh my god! Do you guys want to see what Toxikai looks like? Oh my god, I dated him. Hold on. You guys need to see what he looks like.
Diet Coke. Because your fat ass needs to go on a fucking diet.
No, wrong thing. No, go back up. This
Diet
is him.
Coke.
He sent me this.
Because your fat ass needs to go on a fucking diet.
Oh my god, Riley. Anyways, let's continue.
Right back. I'm gonna frickin' yeah.
Why are you just so
So-
mean to like everybody? Just asking.
I mean, you joined the stream without permission.
Yeah, and I don't know if about you, but I think that's pretty much a right thing to be mean at.
I
Considering
keep getting
that you
heckin'
guys,
muted.
considering that you guys were fucking raiding Birdie's server,
I didn't
and
even.
also just it's not.
It is.
Well, I'll stop with this. Well, I'll end the stream, but just with this final message, because I'm caught up in the moment, and I wanted people to sympathize with
Oh,
me.
that's bad.
I truly
That's
believe
bad.
that
I
if
saw- I
people
saw
saw
something
my
bad.
emotional
I'm sorry.
responses to these
They
situations,
didn't age restrict that. I did not realize it was coming. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
that I would be pitied, which is something that I always confuse for love. It really is my fault that I decided not to mute the live stream, but at this age, I didn't have the capacity to understand what happens when you put out personal things online. This is a concept I didn't even understand until recently. Let me address this stream with my mom. It started when I messaged Sixdust, and because he lived in the same state as me, he told me if I gave him my address, he would come to my house and kill me. By the way, I'd just like to mention, from what I've heard, like, he's chill now, so, like, leave him alone. Don't harass him. I mean, don't harass anybody, but, you know. God, I hate that I feel the need to make this a point in every section. I didn't want to be alive, so I agreed and gave him my address. He leaked it online, and this led to some bad shit. This didn't take effect immediately.
Don't mean to sound rude, but in previous live streams you were defending him, but now you're doing the opposite. It's because he was found out to lie about some stuff. Also, I've never liked him. I've been heavily against him. I just was not allowed to share everything that happened previously up until now. So I had to keep my mouth shut and only share minimal information. I felt bad for him. You're allowed to feel bad for bad people, but I don't fucking like him. Like when he tried to frame Cindy and be like, she stole my cat because she wants me to die. You know?
But years later, I was pizza bombed, things were sent to me in the mail, people showed up to my house, CPS was called to my house, and people tried to call the FBI on me, I think. I don't even know. My parents blame me for this, and every time one of these traumatic incidents would happen, they would scream at me for hours. So hey, thanks for helping me accumulate more childhood trauma, folks. You're really doing everybody a great service here. Hats off to you. Anyways, I digress. People contacted my parents about this because after they had my address, they were able to trace my parents' names, and this happened while I was live streaming. My mom came in and threatened to call the police on me for this, and I broke down. I believe this part may be cropped out of most clips of this, but the part that I remember being recorded was my mom asking me if I gave out our address, and I said that I did. Obviously, this wasn't a good situation for my mom. We were all in danger while I was living there, and we were in danger constantly. But I didn't have the maturity to realize the gravity of what I even did. And she threatened to call the cops on me, which I already had trauma from her doing in the past. After the livestream, she got my IRL friends and my siblings involved, probably to humiliate me, so yeah. I don't think it's fair to treat me as a whiny brat for having emotional responses to my parents confronting me in a serious way. I was scared of them. And as mentioned before, their abuse made me act out in a lot of ways which was normal for a child who's in an abusive household. You guys remember Toxikai, right? The dude I dated when I was 13?
Yeah, but stabbing your mom isn't very normal either.
Well, hold on to your hats, because we've got another curveball coming in. He groomed me. I was 13 and he was 17. I know the quote-unquote drama, where he threatened to report every animation meme channel, was stupid as hell, but Toxikai sticks, and they're—
Wait. I'm only 1 year older than this guy. 13, 17, 13, 14, 15, 16. What? 13, 17? Did I hear that right?
And he groomed me. I was 13 and he was 17.
15, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 3, 15, 16, 17, 18. So when I dated him at like 14 and 15, he was 17 and 18? That's crazy. I always thought he was my age. The fuck? Crazy.
I know the quote-unquote drama where he threatened to report every animation meme channel was stupid as hell, but Toxikai, Styx, and their friends did actually end up mass reporting my channel, which is why my last one was taken down. The only other drama surrounding this dude that I can remember is that he was notorious for being a groomer, and when people found out we were dating, I started being harassed for defending him and condoning his actions supposedly, as if I wasn't being groomed myself. There's not really much drama surrounding this dude other than he's a creep, which is true and very much deserved, and I don't want to get into more of my grooming trauma right now, so I'm just gonna move on. Okay, I'm gonna be honest, this one really pisses me off. This should have never been drama in the first place, or actually, almost none of these should have been, but this one's pretty disgusting. I first came out as trans when I first turned 14, and immediately everyone started fake claiming me. The main argument was that I was faking being trans so I could get Malachi to date me because Malachi told me he wasn't into girls. I'll admit that timing was super bad, but I knew I was trans a year or two before this, and I was even aware during my childhood that I never felt like a girl. And Malachi saying he liked dudes wasn't even what cracked my egg. I knew because right around the same time I watched a video about a trans person's experience and I was like, oh my god, that's exactly how I feel. Oh my god, there's a word for this. Oh my god, I'm a dude. I knew it. So then I came out on Google+, which is really funny. And I basically just said like, hey, could you guys not refer to me by my name? And could you like not use feminine pronouns for me? That would be awesome, thanks. And the response I got was people questioning why, and people telling me I wasn't trans, and telling me that I didn't have gender dysphoria, and people trying to disprove me being trans. Of course.
Also, I love how he doesn't address the grooming allegations first. He just talks about how he's been victimized before anything else, and he's talking about how some dramas victimized him, and then he's like, yeah, I didn't groom that kid. They're a manipulator, and yeah, bad, grooming fetish, bad.
I told everyone I wanted to go by Lucifer, and this made people pissed because I didn't choose a normal person name or whatever. Joke's on you, I've got a normal people name and I'm still Lucifer. I win. I would get so many comments asking me to prove my gender dysphoria to them, and I would write paragraphs in response out of fear that I wouldn't be believed, which is something that you should never do to a kid who's first realizing their gender identity. The transphobia I've experienced as a result of my infamy on the internet is insane, and if I could choose, I would have been stealth online. But I never had a choice because I had an internet presence before I transitioned. I would also like to briefly mention that while we're on this topic, that I detransitioned for a few months in 2021. The majority of people were supportive of this, but there were also a ton of people who said I was faking being trans the whole time, which is gross. I was forced to detransition due to pressure from my transphobic parents. They've threatened to kick me out for being trans, and during that time period I internalized their transphobic nonsense, and I was ashamed of myself for being trans. So I decided to become a version of myself that I thought would be loved by my parents and by the internet. But that was never me. I'm a dude. Please, for the love of God, respect that. Don't misgender me, don't deadname me, don't sexualize me for being trans. Just treat me like a person, that's all I want. I'm gonna be honest here, I don't remember much of what happened with this person or what she said about me, but from what I've heard, she said I was trying to flirt with her while she had a boyfriend. It was completely the other way around. She was trying to lead me on and would draw shit like this. I think she also claimed that I was sexual with her, and the way around, she was trying to lead me on and would draw shit like this. I was in my underwear, but I wasn't being weird about it. I'm just autistic and I have sensory issues with clothes, and I didn't realize at that age that that was a weird thing to do. What was weird was screenshotting me in my underwear as a minor and then posting it everywhere as drama. She was also one of the people who would collect information out of me to give to Malachi so he could try to induce paranoia and psychosis in me. So that was really cool of her. Anyways, this girl is fucking gross, and she said this about me recently when I haven't even talked to her in the justified accounts you can spy on. Hey guys, Parents Owl segment. Hey guys, did you know that Birdie has rights? Well, I do. I also know that trying to make a soft puppet account so you can spy on, manipulate, and falsify grooming allegations against him to try to ruin his life is like cartoonishly evil.
Sorry, but I
because
really
that's what
don't
Purple did,
give
along
a
with
shit about
Dragy,
Purple.
Malachi, and me.
Let's talk
to which
about
I have to say,
the fork.
I think we should totally destigmatize psychosis and other mental illnesses so people like me can get help whenever symptoms like these occur. Anyways, this one's a pretty minor offense, but before I move on to the serious allegations, which are coming up right after this, I'd like to say that I had no idea what I was even depicting. I was in denial about my psychosis, despite being diagnosed, and all I knew was that I was hallucinating and everyone thought I was crazy. I had no idea how to separate my personal life from the internet, so I ended up making videos about it. This is something that I will no longer be doing in the future. During my break, I've realized how to keep my private life private. I'll still be posting vents because I'm allowed to, but they won't include oversharing and personal details like before.
I don't think he kept that promise either. Is fork a person or an actual fork? In 2019, he stabbed his mother with a fork, and he tried to frame it as him lightly poking her, when in reality it was hard enough that the cops had to be called on him.
I'm gonna be honest with all of you, I don't even know what Carol was. She wasn't an alter because she couldn't take control of my body, and she wasn't a tulpa or imaginary friend because she was not intentionally created. For simplicity, I will be calling her a
People thought he was lying, and I thought he was lying for the longest time because of him, like, being so weird about it, being like, fork, fork. Guys, look, I'm holding a fucking fork right now. So we thought he was just being edgy, and it was just like, okay, he'll grow out of it. Nope. I said this previously in the live stream, but for those who weren't here, I guess I need to make that clear.
headmate in this section. Similarly to the psychosis drama, this should have never been drama to begin with because it's weird to make a spectacle of a teen struggling with mental illness, and it absolutely made me worse. I wasn't attempting to, like, fake DID.
Guys, I need a popsicle. I'll be back. This shit is boring me. We're almost done. We have, like, 15 minutes left. Oh, good God. Anybody up? No. Oh, kitties. Kitty. Good kitty. Snug. Hellur. Oh God, I don't really want to get into the psychology debate because I don't know enough about it. I just know that you shouldn't self-diagnose if you're not entirely sure. I don't know, it's like so weird because some things I think you can self-diagnose for. Some things I think you really shouldn't unless you talk to a professional and they're like, I'm pretty sure you have it, but you would have to get evaluated or something like that. And be like, you show very strong signs and symptoms or some shit, you know? But when you're just all like, oh yeah, sometimes I get intrusive thoughts. I want to roleplay as George from Dream SMP. Oh shit. I hope I'm not being too loud. This is why I get nervous to do streams in my apartment, because like, I don't want to be too loud and wake up my neighbors.
Or anything. That was never my intention if it did come across that way. I don't have any active headmates at the moment, but I do have a history of them. Carol, Marilyn, Susie, Rero, Goofball, Playdate, and even Edgy Jack.
Edgy Jack is crazy. Have you ever, like, wondered that maybe it's not DID, it's just you maladaptive daydreaming? Also, Carol magically disappeared whenever you started dating me in 2019. Like, you didn't talk about her unless somebody asked. It was like, oh, yep, suddenly I'm not drawing her as much anymore because, you know, I have GoatCatto now. And then I have, Racco and Jay and stuff like that. Like, come on. I'm sorry, but I don't really believe you.
We're all sentient beings with their own thoughts and emotions who originated from my brain. I really wish I had a concise conclusion.
Psychosis, maybe. I don't know.
Or answer for this, but I don't. When Carol first appeared when I was 14, I went all the way to fucking Seattle Children's Hospital to see a psychiatrist, only for him to brush me off for being autistic and tell me that I have a vivid imagination and that it was just the autism. Funnily enough, I experienced the same thing when trying to explain to my therapist that I thought I had BPD, which I am now diagnosed with. Ableism in the mental health system, especially directed at autistic individuals, is unfortunately very common, and now I'm mad. Anyways, I don't really have a point here. I don't know what Carol was, and it shouldn't have been drama, and that's that. I acknowledge I was very transphobic and racist in the past and often used slurs I couldn't reclaim.
Oh my god. Erkenbot, I'm so sorry. This is so fucking funny. I needed too long, didn't read, just joined stream, and it's Jack talking about being racist and stuff like that. That's fucking hilarious.
Arguing with people of color about the slur usage, misgendering people and calling them trenders, and generally being very insensitive with matters that come to race and how people would express their gender identity. I won't be showing these on screen because these can be very triggering for some of my viewers, but these screenshots are out there, and if you want to see them, you can just search for them. I understand this is very serious and it was only 3 years ago, so I don't expect anyone to forgive me for just saying I'm sorry, but please understand that I've changed as a person and I have not maintained these views since I started my hiatus, and that I understand my own ignorance and internalized transphobia that led to me saying those kinds of things. I don't use slurs like that anymore and have become more open to all sorts of trans individuals and have put in the effort to listen to people of color about these issues. You don't have to forgive me, and I'd rather not have anybody defend me on these points because these are very rational reasons.
Yeah, they all stopped saying slurs because they were all doing it because they're like, haha, slur, funny, 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 edgy. I used to be like that too, but I grew out of it. And I left those groups that were enabling me to do it in 2021. And what do you know? Suddenly, I'm not saying non-binary people aren't real. I'm fucking non-binary. Isn't that crazy? Bisexuals are just confused. I was confused, but I'm sapphic. I love girls. You can't be lesbian. That's just crazy. I said, you can't be lesbian. But before I said that shit, I was in denial because I had dated girls. I was in the closet. It's so fucking stupid.
Reasons to be angry with me. If you feel uncomfortable or unsafe watching my videos because of the things I've said in the past, you have every right to leave. But please at least acknowledge I've moved on from these beliefs and I'm actively working to become a less intolerant person. To all of my trans viewers and people of color in the audience, I love you all and I'm sorry, and I hope you're able to enjoy my content moving forward.
Hello, it's Al again, here for an audition. Okay, so I'm just going to be further expanding on Jack's part, because I wanted to help him word it in a way that made sense, because not only am I a trans person too, but I'm also, you know, Latino, so I feel like my word has a bit more holding than his, because he's a little cracker. Along with educating himself further on differing issues and having more nuanced and progressive ideals on the expression of gender and neopronouns, pronouns, to which he literally...
Al is not cool. Al is the #1 enabler. He's been enabling them since 2019. Bad. Bad. Bad Al. Bad Al. Bad.
Uses it's now and is a fucking femboy! Okay, he's making a lot of large strides and undoing a lot.
Hey guys, I know we're addressing racism allegations, but I'm gonna start screaming about how Jack's a femboy and I'm gonna be really cutesy and haha quirky. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Of internalized transphobia, to which I have to say, he wouldn't have that severe internalized transphobia if you guys didn't fucking hound him when he was 14 to prove that.
Notice how they're defending him instead of being like, hey, he changed as a person. I witnessed his character growth. He's just like, he wouldn't be transphobic if you guys didn't hound him. Stop blaming us for the shit he does. Shut the fuck up, dumbass.
That he was trans and spewing his ideas with like a bunch of true scum ideology, to which he would later use because he was insecure about like his own expression of gender. Wowee, I wonder if it's a perpetual cycle of like insecure teens just feeling bad about themselves and spewing out this hateful ideology. It's almost like if we just talked to him about it and were more accepting, then he wouldn't have ended up like that. Whoa, crazy.
You guys always have an excuse for your bad behavior.
But yeah, he is a lot more of accepting a person, and if you have ever been like misgendered by him before, or like been harassed because he was like being a little shitlet, then we'll issue a proper apology to you if you just ask. Like, genuinely, we're just here to right wrongs and make up for a lot of the bad things that he has done.
You didn't make up or address everything, dipshits, and you know it. Also, I was the one who literally helped Dragy come out with them being groomed initially, and they were behind the scenes encouraging it, and then all of a sudden they flipped a switch and they're like, Jackie Poo, come here, baby cakes. Like, come on. They do this to everybody. They'll be like, yeah, Jack bad. Oh, Jack. Come on, dude. You're just a fucking dick rider. It's because you're irrelevant without him. Sorry, that's mean. I sound like a mean girl or whatever the fuck. I'm a boy. Well, non-binary, whatever. Either. Meh. But Jesus Christ. Ugh. It's just stupid.
Speaking of bad things, it's time we talk about slur usage, to which it's bad, obviously. Like, there's no real defense for it. I guess you can make, like, reasons explaining why he would do it, but then that...
There's no real defense for it. Yeah, we're not trying to defend it. We're trying to apologize and acknowledge that we changed and owned up to it, bitch. Sorry, I just hate this person so much. They are genuinely so annoying. For some reason, they randomly DM'd me and called me a pedophile back in, like, 2020 for some reason. And they're like, you're a pedophile. I wish I had the screenshots, but I don't. Because that was on my main account, but I remember it vividly. They were just weird.
That's not really me defending him. That's me just explaining why. Like, hey, that's why he said he thought using slurs for that long was okay. Like having having extremely racist parents or extremely racist friends that would enable his behavior. But like, that doesn't really excuse what he's done, to which we're not excusing it. We're here to apologize for it, and we hope that you can forgive him for it. He has, again, been making a lot of strides in undoing a lot of his internalized transphobia and, racism that he learned.
It's also weird because I remember this person trying to bring this exact same thing up against me. It's like, oh, well, GoatCatto did the same shit as Jack. They're bad. And I'm sitting over here, I'm like, I actually fucking changed. I don't talk about raping people. Calm down. Y'all kept on into it long after I stopped doing it. Like, come on.
Learned while online and from his parents and from a lot of other places. And I can vouch because, like, I'm a fucking person of color. I'm Mexican. I can vouch that, he's just more sensitive and, aware of the things that he does with his characters that might be minorities and wants to be more diverse with his characters and his designs and overall art and everything about that, which is good. He's learning, which is what you would want and you would hope that he would do. But also, I just want to brush up on this. If you're a white person, don't fucking comment on this section of the video because you can't accept the apology, obviously. It's not for you. If there's one thing in this drama that you should hold him accountable for, it should be, like, him being, like, a racist little shit as a teen. To which, again, I have to state that he generally has been making a lot of progress on doing a lot of the racism he was taught as a little youngin', because, like, hashtag Trump supporter parents. But at the same time, if you don't forgive him for that, then you're allowed to. I mean, come on. It's like, you get to decide whether or not you accept the apology as, like, the viewers that are affected by his slur usage. But also, if you are going to hold him accountable, then I also ask that you at least attempt to hold, like, the other birdie drama people accountable for their racism. Like, Malachi was, like, super racist. Like, remember the fucking account they made out, the entire punchline was just like, look, it's a black woman. She looks insane and weird. That's funny. It's like, how did you guys let that pass but then, like, want to hold Jack accountable and only Jack accountable? So, TDLR, only accept the apology for the racist if you're black, except that he's also tried to make changes about the things that he said and done in the past. If you want an apology, then contact him for, like, being a transphobic little shit. And also, hold other people accountable, please. There's a large imbalance of, like, accountability within birdie drama, and it'd be really nice if you guys would, like, start holding other people accountable for, like, things that happen within the drama instead of just, like, just making the 5 million rant videos on Jack. That's the last audition of the video. See you never again.
I would also like to mention that in 2020, I made jokes about SA that were completely unwarranted and disrespectful to other victims out there, and I'm sorry for this too. I myself am a victim of CSA, but I didn't find out until earlier in 2023, so it doesn't make up for these jokes in the slightest. I'm sorry for the person I was in 2020. I was
You don't sound sorry, and also you don't mention you threatening to rape people and talking about their genitals and wanting to make them rape cats and all this other junk, but whatever.
genuinely just a bad person. I would also like to acknowledge that during this time period, I would harass my ex-friends and play cruel pranks on them just because I didn't like them and wanted to get rid of them, which is the worst thing ever, I think. Holy shit. I've apologized in private to all of the people I've hurt, which includes the people who I harassed, and I wish all of them the best. I know that I truly have hurt people, and I hope that all those people out there are having peace with me out of their lives. This is a rumor I would especially like to disprove because my ferret Chara passed away in November of 2022, and I don't want my baby girl to be remembered that way. So, there's this screenshot that my ex spread around of me saying I secretly
I was gagged when Trish made me realize he admits to it in a screenshot. He admits to a lot of things. He's like, I didn't try to. Okay, I tried to. No, I didn't. And then he's referring to himself. He's wishing the harm that was done upon him, upon Julian. He's like, if he loves cats so much, why didn't he get forced to rape one and then get accused of being a zoophile out of context by his retarded ex? What do you think he's referring to? Isn't that interesting? That's really interesting, guys. What do we think about this? This was about the ferret, yeah. He says that Maddie made him do this, but he can't go back and find proof of that because it was too traumatic. But he denies actually going through with it, but then he's being flip-floppy on his words, both in his video, in the screenshots, and then this. What is going on? So what's the truth? I don't personally get it.
My ferret. Of course, if this was true, that would be fucking deplorable, and holy shit, you'd have to send me to jail. Straight to jail. That would be it. You'd have to lock me up and throw away the key, guys. But there's a shit ton of context missing from this. Admittedly, I didn't mention this in the screenshot, but the reason this happened is because I was groomed into it when I was 13 years old. I don't have proof of this because I lost the DMs with my groomer, nor do I even want to find them. I don't even want to say his name because
even when you're being accused of being a literal zoophile, you don't want to find proof of you being innocent because you're so willing to weaponize every little bit of abuse that might have happened to you to make yourself seem innocent. I don't know, it's crazy to me. Yes, I do fully believe that he was groomed by Maddie. I've heard horrible stories about him and garbage. It's just, you're being flip-floppy. And I feel like maybe you don't want to admit that maybe something did happen because your DMs with Maddie might show that. Now, don't take my word as fucking gospel. You've managed to find most of other people's DMs. Also, why couldn't you let someone else find it for you? You let the Maryland guy, or whatever, go through your DMs to look at Heimgut stuff and all this other stuff. But when it comes to Maddie, you won't let anybody look for you? Is there something you're hiding? Has anybody thought about that? I don't know, I'm just curious.
This was the most traumatic time that I was groomed. I've been groomed several times, obviously, but this was the worst, and I don't want to talk about it for that long publicly. Another thing I'd like to point out, which is almost as important as the grooming context, is that right in the screenshot I said I didn't even go through with it. Like, it...
I didn't even go through with it. Okay, sorry, I just realized I was muted the entire time. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to repeat myself. I warn you, I regret this awfully. I genuinely have no idea why I did that. When I was 13, I was being manipulated by Maddie. I have no idea why, but when my family left the house, I tried to make Chara do teen ants on me, which means oral sex. Also, the thing that doesn't make sense is he's all like, oh, I was being groomed by Maddie, but then I don't know why, but when my family was gone, I tried to get the ferret to, you know, do stuff with me. I have no idea why though. He doesn't directly mention why he did it in that specific circumstance. I didn't even go through with it. I was so ashamed. I don't abuse animals. It was a one-time thing. I have no idea why I did that. Why? Your wording is very inconsistent. I think you did it, but you just didn't want to admit to it.
Never even happened. I just prepared to do it because I was 13 and I was told.
You prepared to do it? But you said, I did it. I tried to make Chara. One-time thing. I didn't go through with it. Why did I do that?
Through with it. Like, it never even happened. I just prepared to do it because I was 13 and I was told to. This was extremely traumatic for me, which is why, despite the fact that these accusations were hurting me more than any of the ones before this, I didn't address it publicly. After this happened, I would cry every time I saw my ferret, and
Sorry, this is corny as fuck.
I had reoccurring nightmares about this. I was a victim in this situation, and so was Chara. While on the topic of my ferret, I would also like to address the neglect, because this holds much more merit than the abuse I just mentioned. I got Chara for my 12th birthday with no prior knowledge of ferrets or how to care for them. I didn't know how to clean up after her, I didn't know what food she was supposed to eat, I didn't know how to hold her.
I do believe that it is possible for someone to groom children into doing sexual acts with animals. I know that. My issue is the fact that he's lying about actually doing it. Because he's like, I didn't do it. I did it. It was a one-time thing. I didn't actually do it. I only prepared to do it. I tried to do it. I did it. The wording is inconsistent. That's the thing. Did you do it or did you not do it? I'm just trying to point this out because he has a history of lying about everything that he does. Even when, like, he's genuinely, like, you know, a victim in a situation, he will still find something to lie about and victimize himself more about. It's crazy. We see it with the Cindy Bear situation still. And it's weird because you don't want to think of someone that way. I feel like a lot of us are too empathetic and we think, well, this is a human being. They're obviously going through so much and stuff like that. But this is what people do. Some people are just like this. They use everything they can to victimize themselves, even when it's proven otherwise. And, like, I understand, like, being paranoid and accusing someone of something that's not true, but when they come to you about it not being true, and you flat out just ignore them, and, like, you don't even try to piece together what's untrue about what they're telling you. You just don't even hear them out. And you're like, no, this guy's lying even though I called them this and that and that. You just look guilty. I try to talk things out with people, but once they start disrespecting me or lying or overstepping a boundary, that's when I, cut it off. But he just doesn't do that. I don't know.
I didn't even know that she wasn't supposed to live in her cage, and I barely knew anything about her. This is entirely my parents' fault for buying me this animal knowing I was unprepared for it. Despite all of this, I researched ferrets more as I grew up and learned what she needed to thrive, but my parents wouldn't give her what she needed. I was a minor and I wasn't allowed to buy anything, so despite how much—
You still could have cleaned her cage more. She literally had maggots in it, but okay.
I begged, I couldn't get a bigger cage for her, and I couldn't get her a buddy to live with because you're always supposed to have more than one ferret. I couldn't get her higher quality food, and my parents wouldn't even take her to the vet. I did the best that I could for her despite my circumstances, and I would take her out every day to play. I would feed her eggs and meat as a treat to keep her healthy. I would clean her cage every day, and she would get plenty of love and attention. But I will admit,
I would clean her cage every day, and I would give her tons of love and attention. And she was literally graying from stress. Ferrets tend to, like, gray their hair out whenever they're not satisfied with their environment and they're not exactly mentally healthy. Also, what was it? The 2018 screenshots of him admitting that there was maggots in his cage, and then he was like, I was too depressed to take care of them. Which, like, I get whatever, but, like, don't lie about it. Stop lying about it. Still, though, do something. Maggots is a bit too far. I understand forgetting to, like, scoop the fucking litter box or something for, like, a day or two, but you eventually do it. The fact that you let it get so bad that there was maggots in there is unacceptable. That's disgusting. That's just gross. I cleaned her cage every day. Liar.
That during the ages of 12 to 14, I didn't take care of her properly. I almost gave her away because—
And now you're backtracking. Keep your story straight.
I admitted that she wasn't the right pet for me to be taken care of because I could barely take care of myself. But once I did my research, I made it work, and she was very happy for a while before she passed away. I couldn't provide the best life for her because I was never prepared to own a ferret. And although she didn't deserve me, I really did my best for her, even though I wish I could have done so much more. I've since become a much better pet owner. I adopted Squirp a while ago after taking care of numerous cats for years and doing plenty of research, along with waiting until my mental health had improved and I was in a safe environment.
That's a lie. You were selfish. You just wanted a kitty. You didn't even have necessarily a stable environment. You literally just moved in. God. I did all of my research. But then when you stole the cat and broke out the bond that she had with her sister, I did all of my research. Okay, dipshit.
I wish Chara could have had the kind of life that Squirp has, but it's too late.
But, like, he's pissing
she was
me
6
off.
years old
I'm
when
sorry,
she passed
I'm
away,
sorry.
and I miss her more than anything. Let's remember her in a better light. She was sweet, playful, affectionate, and full of life. She was my baby.
My birdie, my wait. Don't want the pedophile ones. Where is it? My birdie, my birdie. You're my birdie, I'm your drama. Creaky stare? I'm so sorry. It doesn't move along. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just genuinely kind of tired, but not really. God damn it. Where is it? Please send it to me. I need to find it. My birdie, my birdie. I literally can't spell it. My birdie. My birdie, I'm your trauma. Found it. You're kidding me. That's so lame. My birdie, I'm your birdie, you're my drama. Ew. Yeah, no, I low-key like the parody better. This is awful.
Okay, I'm not sure if anyone even remembers them. Basically, they were this group of people who would make rants about me because they were my friends for like a month and they thought that was enough basis to talk about how I like traumatized them.
It's because you actually did traumatize them. You're known for causing trauma to multiple people. You're just trying to downplay it because you're a fucking asshole.
Or something. I mean, considering this was 2020, that was pretty reasonable for, like, who I was. But what was really fucking weird about evidence found is that the majority of them were, like, adults. Yeah, they about this, not my veg leaf, all a bunch of... Okay, look. This dude's a piece of shit. I'm gonna be quick here because, as far as I know, this dude genuinely gets off ring advantage of it. I was in a book trip years old, and said, fun fact, this guy quite literally. I just want to. Anyways, I picked up with him.
What was that?
Say that law overrides morality, but I'm just making a point here that this is both immoral and illegal. This guy has been harassing me nonstop when I did literally nothing to him except for break up with him, and he is quite literally the man behind the drama. Anyways, I fucking hate this guy, and I want to never talk about him ever again. I just want to put this here because I think you should all really stop supporting him. Also, he's racist and drew fetishized essay art. I'm not-
Okay, shut the fuck up. Dude, you do the same. Shut up. You did all of that the same when you were you know what?
State where I was essentially-
I'm gonna speak on it. I don't understand why he's like, yeah, this 13-year-old and like this ex and all these people who were very obviously groomed as children and are all very traumatized. Yeah, they do fetish art and stuff like that or whatever, and they're doing like grooming stuff and blah 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 blah, blah and they're like drawing art that me no likey. But you know, I can draw it because I was traumatized and I was groomed, so I get out free, you know, because I was like 12. But you know, because I don't like these people, they're all evil. They're all evil and incapable of change. Let's put them on blast, why don't we? To 120,000 fucking people.
Dissociating 24/7 and became unable to make proper judgment anymore.
Oh no, this is the part. This is the fucking part. This is the grooming allegations.
This breakup alone put me into another psychotic state where I was essentially dissociating 24/7 and became unable to make proper judgment anymore. Exactly 5 days after said breakup, I was asked out by my former friend Dragy.
I was in psychosis and I didn't have the right mindset to, you know, deny them. I think I'd probably need a few days to consider it, but probably yeah. I think you're mature for your age. Shit like that. Are you fucking kidding me?
Anymore. Exactly 5 days after said breakup, I was asked out.
Maybe I think we should both think about it for a while.
By my former friend
Doesn't
Dragy.
repulse you, so he's feeding into it.
Who was 13. I was 16, and it was my responsibility as-
Give me it. We're putting it on screen, Toshi.
the older person to turn them down, but because of the mental state I was in, I was unable to make the right decision.
Guys, I was mentally ill, so I dated this 13-year-old even though I was 16, and you know, this year I'm 20 and they're still 16 now. They're like, well, not still, but you know, they're 16 turning 17 now. Ignore the fact that that would be illegal and fucking weird, and ignore the fact that I did get kind of weird with them and talk about rape and shit like that in front of them. Ignore that, guys. I'm not going to mention that because that would make me look bad. But I'm going to be like, oh, I forgot about it because I'm mentally ill and I have psychosis, you know.
They were entirely aware of the mental state I was in.
Why are you blaming a 13-year-old who has no concept of what psychosis actually is like?
I addressed my worries with us dating, but they insisted that they wanted to date me, so...
You could easily say no, you're the older party. If you don't want to date someone, you say no. You are such a wimp.
I agreed. Our relationship lasted less than a week, and nothing of a romantic or sexual nature
That's not true.
happened at all. I never instigated anything with this person. Fun fact, I was already ace at this point in time, but I wasn't aware.
Disinterested in them romantically. If you're disinterested, just break up with them, you fucking idiot.
Aware of it yet, so I didn't even experience any attraction.
Not being normal around minors, how is he allowed a platform containing them back? I don't know. Also, it's so fucking funny because he was like, well, you made it seem okay even though you're the kid, so I thought it would be okay.
Attraction towards
Dipshit. Let's look at the Toshi drive. Oh my god, where's it? Censored. Yuri. Ew! Yuri age proof. I'm 13 and I'll admit that I'm a major dumbass at times. Hey, is it weird when I start rambling about masochism and other similar things? He knew! Oh my god! You were 13 at that time. That's crazy. And this was 2023, so 13. So 21. 14, 15. So they're 15 now. Unless Jack forgot about their age or something. Talking about gore. Talking about Yuri fetish. Ew, they're talking about vaginal talks with a 15-year-old when you're 18, 19. Oh my god. Okay. That is foul. Guys, this is gonna get sexual. If you don't want to see anything like this, please click off. I'm going through all the evidence because this is a review stream. I'm sorry. Little guy. Ew, that stuff. I remember this. I remember this. I remember this. I remember this. I don't want to look at that right now. I'm sorry. I've seen that. What? Oh. Oh yeah, there's me. That. 15-year-old. Where's this stuff with there we go. Watching before look. This is sick. Attention seeker. 2024. I'm seeking. Blah, blah, blah. I need help making a response soon. I need receipts of Dragy admitting they do this because they're sadistic and love the attention because I know they've said it. Dragy is 16, by the way, right now. I don't know if anybody who can provide proof of it, but I really need it. I don't know if I can make a response without it. If you don't have proof, don't say that. Okay, let me see. One of my, What? This is Dragy. He's talking about rape with Dragy. This was in 2021. So there was that. Yep. So that's... Ooh, Lord. So he was 16, 13. 16, 13. 16, 13. 16, 13. This is disgusting. Benson rape compilation. I never said anything sexual with Dragy, by the way. Where did he say that? Where did he say that?
This person base at this happened at Our relationship lasted less than a week, and nothing of a romantic or sexual nature happened at all. I never instigated anything with this person. Fun fact, I was already
05/15/2021. Oh, 03. So this was before they dated, but still it shows that he was still sexual around them in general. You shouldn't be talking about this. Age acknowledged. Haha, I have to get a job, blink, blink, blink. Aren't you 13? Turning 14 soon so I can work at certain stores. Oh, okay, Dragy coming to stores this summer. You know, I didn't want this to happen and I already feel guilty. Do you think I need any more? No, I didn't want it to turn out this way. I genuinely wanted to help you, blah, 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 blah. Blake has talked to you about this too, blah, 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 blah. I didn't choose this. I don't want anything. Crazy. Crazy shit.
Already aroace at this point in time, but I wasn't aware of it yet, so I didn't even experience any attraction towards this person, which can be corroborated by the things I said during this time period. You can also see several instances of me establishing with them that I was not in the right state of mind to be making any proper decisions. But despite the sheer amount of times I said I wasn't in the right state of mind, they continued to pursue me anyways, which, I mean, what can I say? They were 13. Again, it was my responsibility to turn them down, which I would have done if I was, like, lucid, but in all honesty, I think I was taken advantage of. I'll come back to this point again once I finish explaining the full sequence of events. So we broke up after dating for less than a week and nothing happening between us, and immediately afterwards they began spreading grooming allegations in birdie drama circles. I'll admit, because of the weird-ass circumstances, their rumors kinda had merit. There's one screenshot in particular where I told them I thought they were mature for their age, and that was partially why I wanted to date them, which is really fucking gross in hindsight. Oh my god. I'm not gonna defend myself for saying that because that is groomer behavior, and it wasn't okay for me to say that. I will, however.
It's groomer behavior, but I'm not a groomer. But if Kitty Dog did this, oh my god, guys, that's a pedophile.
Provide context for it, because although what I said was inappropriate, my intentions were not. The conversation started when I wanted to address the pros and cons of us dating like a robot because I'm aroace and I didn't feel anything for them, like I said, and it eventually became a talk about emotional maturity in relationships. Dragy vented to me and told me they thought they were emotionally mature for their age, so I tried to comfort them by agreeing with them and explaining that.
Yeah, guys, I established a bond with this 13-year-old, and I told them they were mature for their age. I validated them into thinking that they were mature for their age. How do you say this and, like, not think you're being weird?
Emotional maturity is a trait that would be desirable in a partner. Of course, as you can see, this did not come out
desirable in a partner.
Sounding normal. The way I phrased this was gross because I didn't know what I was saying. My brains were scrambled.
Hee, I didn't know what I was saying. I had psychosis.
That's why I dated a 13-year-old. Shush.
And honestly, besides agreeing to date them, I think this is the only actual instance where I said something weird to them. I even confirmed a few months later that my intentions were to comfort them as a friend, and this wasn't an attempt at, like, flirting or trying to manipulate them. The reason I had to confirm my intentions, however, is because months later, in fucking Dice, Dragy sexualized my wording in this situation in a way that romanticizes grooming. If this isn't enough for you, I want you to know that it was also paired with this screenshot where Dragy admits to wanting to groom and rape Olive Bear, an account that was made to represent an 11-year-old child. Dragy's action of condemning my supposed grooming in the birdie drama community was entirely performative, and in reality they fetishize and get off to grooming and child.
Dragy was a victim themselves, also Olive Bear wasn't real. Guys, excuse everything I did because of my groomers, but these guys who are groomed into doing actual behaviors that display being groomed, guys, they're so bad. They're bad. They're bad.
Child abuse, and their sole intention when coming out about this was to try to slander me. They never even saw my actions as grooming in the first place. They admitted to me twice that others gave them the idea to label it as grooming. Back to when I said I think they took advantage of me, let me explain that too. I can't really say for sure, but like, I think this whole thing was planned. The timing of asking me out 5 days, only 5 days after my breakup, and waiting for me to be in a vulnerable state, along with all of the
A 13-year-old cannot think that fucking deep. Be so fucking for real. They looked up to you. They were already your friend. They saw that you were single. They liked you. So they're like, I know it's pretty soon, but I'm here for you. I want to date you. Oh my god.
The evidence shown here leads me to believe that this was all with the intention of getting dirt on me, similar to Olive Bear, which from what I believe Dragy was also behind, but I don't have any evidence, so I can't really say for.
If you don't have no evidence, then hush. You should not be fucking blaming a 16-year-old for everything.
Sure. My conclusion is, I think it would be inaccurate and slanderous to label me as a groomer with this incident in mind. Despite the moral grayness of this, I do not personally view it as grooming, as I believe I was manipulated into a situation where I could be made to look bad while I couldn't even think for myself. Speaking of decisions I made while my brain was melted, joining DICE was one of those. So why don't we talk about that one next? So I'm sure, as you all know, I was in DICE for a little bit. Just to let you know, I didn't, create DICE, obviously. I didn't, partake in evil cult stuff. I was literally there for, 2 weeks, and it was traumatic for me. I
was there for 2 weeks, and it was traumatic for me. Then why are you gonna be all yeah, Dragy who's in DICE, let's not mention the potential trauma that they're being put through. I'm the victim. Ugh.
DICE because I went through a breakup, the 2021 breakup that was the worst thing that ever happened to me, and I was suicidal, so I asked if I could join because I wanted to be encouraged to hurt myself. Mortis was trying to take advantage of me, pedophiles were trying to flirt with me, people were just obsessing over me, and it was not a pleasant experience. I never condoned the zoophilic, pedophilic nature of DICE, and when I learned that that's what was supported in that server, I left and never spoke to Mortis ever again. I don't know how many of you are aware, but almost everybody making drama posts about me were a part of DICE, so I don't know why I'm the only person who's being talked about as some spooky evil cult person.
Not every drama person was a part of DICE, be so for real.
Spreading lies about my contribution to DICE, or lack thereof, makes it harder for me and other ex-members to come out about our experiences because everyone wants someone else to blame, when you should all be blaming the leader.
Everybody always wants someone else to blame. Everybody always wants someone else to blame. Little bit ironic. Who else always has someone else to blame? Let's put our thinking caps on. We got 21 more minutes.
Leader, Mortis. It was a traumatic experience and I don't want to be associated with DICE anymore. The people in charge of DICE are fucking disgusting and I hate all of them. Seth's Deadly Sin is a game idea I came up with when I was 16, and I plan to continue the project and the characters in the future. The content that was leaked preemptively by others does not actually give full context as to what it was actually about, and generally most assumptions about the characters and the plot are misconstrued due to misinformation. I would also like to add that literally every single leak is outdated and is no longer accurate to the plot or characters. The sexualization of the minor characters was done while I was a minor.
So he's saying that it was never true, but then he's also saying that the leaks were outdated and that the claims about the characters were no longer true because the information was outdated and he changed it. Did you guys catch that? Let me rewind. Rewind. Okay, oh my god, I'm actually slurring. Rewinding.
Seth's Deadly Sin is a game idea I came up with when I was 16, and I plan to continue the project and the characters in the future. The content that was leaked preemptively by others does not actually give full context as to what it was actually about, and generally most assumptions about the characters and the plot are misconstrued due to misinformation.
Misconstrued due to misinformation. But it turns out that it was outdated information, which goes to show that originally they were created to do that. They were created originally to serve a purpose that wasn't exactly healthy.
I would also like to add that literally every single leak is outdated and is no longer accurate to the plot or characters. The sexualization of the minor characters was done while I was a minor myself, as I was 16.
Except you knew better, that's the thing. I get it. Minors are gonna draw porn, whatever the fuck, but You were 16 years old drawing porn of like 14, 15-year-olds and stuff like that, sharing it to people. Even though you were like, yeah, I got called out as a child for like drawing child porn. It was bad. I'll stop. I'm so sorry. And then you do it again. Do you guys remember that at least with like the Sleepy King stuff? Wasn't he literally called out for this and he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I won't do it anymore. It was child porn. Did it at 18 too, just change their ages for getting called out? That is disgusting.
During the making of the concept art, and every character I sexualized was 15 or 16, but as I grew older I became uncomfortable with the concepts depicted and all of the characters are now adults. I would like to make it a point that I don't condone the romanticization of self-harm, toxic relationships, or the dark subjects explored in Seth's Deadly Sin, as it isn't what this series was intended to do. Seth's Deadly Sin is inspired by old RPG Maker games from the 2000s, and its main themes are severe mental illness, all coming from my own personal experiences, which I'm allowed to do, by the way. Really funny that I have to say that. I would quickly like to mention that every artist ever takes from their own personal experiences to create stories. That isn't to say that the entire thing is a vent and that I'm oversharing personal details. It's merely a story about mental illness and coming to terms with your past. The assumption that the characters, specifically Jun Nguyen, being connected to Shotokan is just plainly wrong and really fucking gross, and that's obviously not condoned either, oh my god. It makes me extremely uncomfortable how some of my supposed fans have taken it upon themselves to more or less fetishize him and start making weird miniature fandoms surrounding him. Although I appreciate—
Oh my god, it makes me so uncomfortable that minors and birdie fans are making a community around this. Yet he was engaging with them. Guys, do you remember him responding to fan art of people drawing that stuff of Seth's deadly sins or whatever the hell? Like all that junk. And then the fucking stan accounts on the fucking Curious Cat Twitter side or whatever. Yeah, he became friends with them, Toshi. I remember that shit. You are such a liar.
Appreciate the fans surrounding my passion project. I am immensely uncomfortable with fans discussing the game and creating fan art while I was on hiatus, and being unable to release any official content myself on my own terms. It's my art and it's very personal to me, and I didn't consent to that being publicized. The feeling of being perceived and picked apart and analyzed while trying to avoid a public audience as a schizospec guy is terrifying beyond words.
Trying to avoid a public audience? If you can't handle it, why are you here?
A majority of the older concepts that were inherently problematic have changed, and the story and the characters in general have changed drastically, as opposed to the art that was leaked. The story is more of a dark exploration of mental health issues as a result of intense childhood trauma, and it was never intended to promote or romanticize said issues. Going forward, while interacting with Seth's Deadly Sin, I please ask that 1. You aren't fucking weird about my characters, and 2. Stop putting words in my mouth about the series, and 3. Handle subject matters inside maturely, and 4. Acknowledge that, again, the actions in it are not condoned. Also, I would like to briefly mention that the dude claiming Jun is related to Shotokan is fucking Julian. And I would like to make it a point, again, not to give this guy a platform, because the only reason he's claiming these things is because he's mad I'm not friends with him anymore. I was briefly friends with him last year, and he was obsessed with Jun, and had no issues with him whatsoever. This is a common theme with Julian, like, not just Julian, but everyone perpetuating this drama. They're extremely hypocritical and petty, and I wanted to provide an example of this here. I'm 19 now, and I'm not even going to entertain Julian or other drama people's ideas. It's mostly just random assumptions and lies made by weird, petty, parasocial Andes, and I advise against supporting these ideas yourself, as their proof is just speculation and their takes aren't new.
Their proof is just speculation. Meanwhile, there's literally a mega drive of proof against you, yet you still claim that you have proof against all these people. Oh my god. But you never bring it to the table. It's literally just speculation from you, and then you backtracking when you accidentally admit something. God.
Nuanced in the slightest. Let's all be adults and not resort to petty name-calling and chicanery. I would like to add that an incredibly serious allegation came out about me while in the making of this video. There's been a fake screenshot made to make it look like I admitted to essaying my sister. I know for a fact that I've never hurt another person like this, let alone one of my siblings, but there's no concrete way to disprove things like this. There's no evidence of it not happening, and there's no evidence of it happening aside from the screenshot. The person who falsified this screenshot has added details that make this especially hard to disprove, such as claiming the assault happened while my sister was asleep. I've talked with my sister in depth about this on multiple occasions, and we're both confident that this never happened and that the screenshot is definitely fake. There's been a disturbing theme in the birdie drama community of falsifying incest between me and my sister, such as NSFW art and essay accusations like these. We're both extremely uncomfortable and upset and sickened with these claims, and I myself even feeling traumatized from seeing falsified incest art of me and my sister when I was a child, me being 12 and my sister only being 9. The screenshot that came out recently even put the, quote, situation into a context that had us both being those ages, which is especially disturbing. SA is a traumatic situation any way you spin it, but intentionally framing it as us being young children is sickening. My sister wants nothing to do with birdie drama, and I advise that you stop making these accusations or believing things said about me right off the bat, which is immensely difficult to say because I know it's hard enough for actual SA victims to be believed in the first place, and disgusting lies like this make it even harder for victims to come out about their experiences. I myself am saying this as a victim of CSA and incest, which is why these accusations are particularly insulting. There's been a long history of people making things up about me with the intention of garnering sympathy for themselves or having me face legal repercussions for things I didn't do, or even driving me to suicide. Please take everything said about me from a third-party source with a grain of salt. And please, for the love of God, leave my sister out of this. She's only 16 and doesn't need this kind of trauma. Also, she told me to tell all of you—
I can't speak on it, but if you know, you know. He's being a hypocrite in this segment about his sister.
that she's like epic and like cool and awesome and like— and she totally is. Can confirm. Hey Alvina, if you're watching this, you're like epic. You're like my super best friend. Although I don't have any evidence that this didn't happen, I believe I know the person who made this screenshot. I was contacted on August 21st and the screenshot was leaked on August 24th. The person who contacted me is known for falsifying screenshots and has publicized lies about me in the past. This is also the same person who claimed I groomed them in 2021. I believe that the screenshot was created as a result of me rejecting this person. They have a tendency to take revenge like this, and a ton of drama people in general are just jealous because I won't be friends with them or date them. I've since cut contact with them. I provided a video of me doing so because I'm aware of how easy it is to fake screenshots. I mean, duh, that's what this whole section is about, but like, yeah. As someone with immense sexual trauma, as a victim of grooming, as a victim of covert incest instigated by my mom, as a victim of CSA instigated by my dad, it is never okay to lie about these things. This kind of shit is why we're never believed. My heart goes out to all of the other victims of sexual assault and incest, and I wish you all the space to heal and to be believed. I'm sorry that this video ended up on such a serious note. I couldn't not address this. Peace. Oh my god.
We've already been over this. If you know, you know. It's on Twitter. Then there's Yuri admitting to being a kid. Whatever. I'm sorry, I'm just so fucking tired. It's just like, oh my god, dude, he yaps forever.
This is so annoying. Okay, so like I'm adding this like last minute, right? I don't even like have a script for this part. I'm just like, I have like bullet points in front of me. I do fucking awful with bullet points, so I'm so sorry in advance for all the like all the stuttering and shit. I'm so sorry, but I have to add this last minute because I didn't think anyone gave a shit about this until I announced that I had to quit my side channel in March of 2024 for my own safety because it was becoming objectively unsafe to post on there. What you say? After I announced that I was leaving that side channel, I got like a ton of backlash and a ton of like weird
I'm sorry, but their humor is so fucking shit. I can't believe I used to be friends with them. They're so fucking cringy. They're just like, wrong XD random
which is funny because they're all just proving exactly what I said in my video, that channel was not like a fun parody account anymore. It was just somewhere for me to be like harassed and stalked and made fun of all over again, because that's what I said in my video and it came true, so I think that's very funny. However, a lot of these comments were making allegations that I'm a predator and that I am friends with minors as a 19-year-old. And it's so easy to disprove this that I just wanted to make a very quick section where I do so, because that's just objectively false. That's just a lie. And those people are weird. So, I'd like to talk about it for a little bit. Just for a minute. And then I'll get to the conclusion of my video. I'd like to start with saying that although this allegation is fake, the reason that it was made is because it's a very easy allegation to make. Like,
notice how he starts stuttering a little bit more? Is anybody else hearing that too? He keeps like stuttering a bit more in this specific segment. Or am I just like overthinking it? Off script, I think. Okay.
On the internet, you could call anyone like a pedophile, and somebody's gonna side with you because that's just how the internet functions, right?
Okay, I just wanted to make sure he wasn't doing it more than normal at like this part, because like I know a lot of people start stuttering a lot more when they start lying about shit. I don't know. Just trying to fucking study him, you know? Like a little insect.
I'd like to say that when people fabricate these kind of allegations, they are never out of a place of care for any victims or any minors of the situation. It's always about pointing fingers. And I know this because when I was a minor and I was being groomed, it was very, very publicly known that I was speaking to adults, and it was quite obvious from my behavior and the things that I was saying, and the things that were leaked in particular, that I was being groomed, and nobody cared. So it's never about like care or concern, it's always about trying to make someone look bad. In fact, this allegation only became relevant because I became a legal adult, and it started when I turned 18, because people were waiting for me to turn 18 so that they could call me a groomer and a pedophile. Because if they were making those rumors about me as a minor, it wouldn't make much sense, right? So they were waiting for my 18th birthday to roll around, like a year ago, or 2 years ago. I don't know when my birthday was. The age of 18 itself isn't even like a mature age anyways. Like I was barely an adult when this rumor started. You know, I'm still a teenager, like right now. I'm only 19, like my brain is not fully developed. Anyways, the semantics of like age and stuff on the internet, like trying to navigate like all the gray areas is fucking annoying, so I'm not gonna get into like the nitty-gritty of it, but I'd like to be straightforward with all of you. When I was 18, I was in contact with minors. I cut all of them off in June of 2023 out of paranoia and because I had outgrown those friendships.
So then he lied then? Because he was like, I was not friends with minors. And then he was like, I was friends with minors when I was 18. And then in June, I cut them off. So he acknowledges it, and then he also just kept talking to some of them too, pretty damn sure.
By the time I cut contact with them, I'd only been 18 for 9 months, and I knew most of them, like, long before I turned 18. I knew most of them starting from when I was, like, 16, and, you know, they weren't much younger than me. They were all, like, mostly 17. Like, I'm sorry, that's not grooming. But I will be honest, besides all the 17-year-olds, there was, like, one exception. Okay, we're gonna talk about Maryland Dude again. For context, he would often choose my friends for me, and would often put me in contact with people who weren't safe for me to be around. For example, he had me befriend Julian and Malachi.
He just wanted you to have friends, and some people wanted to apologize to you. You didn't have to fucking accept their apologies. That's how I got in contact with you, dude. You didn't even have to talk to them if you didn't want to. If you truly felt unsafe, you would not be talking to them.
Malachi for a few months in 2022. And so when he was choosing my friends and like putting me in contact with people, he put me in contact with one of my fans, and I wasn't even aware that she was like a fan of me. I thought like Maryland Dude and this girl were just like chill with each other. I didn't know who she was. I had no idea. I didn't even know her age until like long after we were introduced to each other, because we just like didn't talk very much. She was 15. I had no idea. The only reason I found out is because I saw posts of people saying how creepy it was that I was talking to a 15-year-old, and I didn't even know like she was 15 until I saw that. Like until people started saying things like that. So I cut contact with her a while after I found out for multiple reasons, her age and her being a Birdie fan being two of those reasons. I would like to be straightforward with the fact that I have talked to minors in 2023, somewhat recently, as of
He's flip-flopping. I don't talk to minors. And then he's like, I did actually recently talk to minors. I knew this minor's age whenever I was 18, 19 talking to them. Y'all hearing this shit? If you need to, rewind, but he just said that.
This recording in March of 2024. That's what I'm saying. It's right after, like, I made the video on my other, like, side channel announcing I was leaving. Sorry, timing is weird. I didn't befriend any of the minors that I talked to recently. I talked to these people because I had problems with them and I wanted to solve them in a professional manner. I had no intention of staying in contact with them or, like, becoming friends because I don't want to. I cut them all off after our problems were resolved, and if they asked to befriend me, I would just tell them no. For like a year, I've had like 2 friends, and they're both 20, so this is just a lie.
Then why didn't you tell your minor birdie friend people no and block them?
And the people tossing around these allegations are birdie Twitter lurkers, because those are the people who were commenting on my video, because my side account was somewhat pretty hidden. The only people who knew about it were like parasocial weird birdie people, right? I would like to point out how hypocritical this is, because if you are an adult navigating that side of Twitter constantly, you are always interacting with minors. Don't act like you're better than me. You are a bunch of creeps.
We're not engaging with their hypersexual or not safe for work art or encouraging them to engage with us in conversations about rape or gore or your fetishy self-harm stuff. But pop off.
Also, these same commenters were angry that I wouldn't talk to a minor, but also angry that I talked to minors in the past. In particular, I received backlash for not forgiving Dragy, who...
You're just trying to paint yourself as the fucking victim and these people as mean assholes. You are spreading a false narrative about Dragy. Dragy is trying to talk it out with you because you said, if you have any problems with me, talk it out, or some shit like that. You're spreading a false narrative. Naturally, someone's gonna want to get in contact with the person who's doing that, especially when you have such a huge platform. And you're saying that they have a grooming fetish, implying that they might be a groomer. All this other junk. Like... You have no self-awareness. You're fucking stupid.
During the making of this video, is still continuing to try to contact me and to basically harass me. They have spent...
To basically harass me. No, you dumbass. To clear the fucking water. That water being the shit-smeared allegations that you threw at their name. Fucking weirdo.
Days trying to send me friend requests and trying to send other people to put me in contact with them. They were mostly trying to contact me through that side account, which is part of the reason that I abandoned it, because I'm just too old for this, honestly. I'm too old to be dealing with these kind of people. I'm too old to, like, it's like high school drama. I just don't want to do it. It's ridiculous. I don't want it. I don't want it. So obviously I did what an adult would do in this situation, and I ignored them because I don't want anything to do with them. At one point, they sent me a really long apology on my side account, despite how obvious it was I didn't want to talk. And it was something about how they wanted to explain themselves because, like, and it was basically them, like saying how much they missed me and, like, how sorry they were and how they want to have a talk with me to try to disprove that they made the fake screenshot of me molesting my sister.
Good
Which,
Lord.
like, I don't want to talk to them because who else could it have been? They've got a history of doing this.
Who else could it have been? People on fucking kiwi farms, dude. Anybody who hates you. There are thousands of people who hate you, dude. That's your fault.
And, like, I don't forgive them. I don't want to talk to them. I just don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with this person. I don't trust them. Aside from the things that I've mentioned in this video, they aren't a very good person. And, like, I don't want to get into that because it's personal and it's petty and it's drama and I don't want to deal with this. So I refused to respond. I actually had Al, the other owner of the account, forward a message to them explaining that I don't forgive them and we both want to be left alone because it's ridiculous that they are going to this extent to try to contact me when I want nothing to do with them, and that has been established. I've told them personally I don't want to talk to them ever again, so they should respect that. So they went and told a bunch of...
Okay, but if you're spreading a false, like, narrative about them, they still do kind of have a right. God. On one hand, I get it. On the other hand, you were literally 20 years old running a smear campaign against a fucking 16-year-old. Be so fucking for real. Actually, you know what? Yeah, no, fuck you.
Of birdie Twitter people that I didn't want to talk to them, and it caused outrage in a bunch of little Cheeto finger Twitter jerk-offs for some fucking reason. So yeah, those are the kind of people spreading this allegation. They're a bunch of liars and hypocrites. Also, I'd like to point out how funny this is, because the age of 18, how old I was when these rumors started being made, is still old enough to be in high school. If I was still in school during that—
What the fuck is he about to say? Is he about to excuse groomer shit?
time, I would be surrounded by minors that same age whether I wanted to or not. This argument is stupid. Also, I'm Aeroace. What kind of sexual thing would I want to use minors for?
Talking about rape, self-harm, emotional validation.
I don't want to do sexual things with anyone, let alone children. That's disgusting. Okay, now that we're done here, let's wrap things up. Again, this is the first and last time I'm ever gonna talk about these things unless I do something seriously wrong and need to address it, so please don't try to spread this kind of negativity on my channel anymore. Also, if you're gonna continue to be weird about birdie drama, I will block you for my own safety, along with the safety of my friends and family. The people posting about me are mostly my exes and my abusers whose main goal is to try to hurt me.
Or maybe deplatform you because you're a fucking abuser and a violent offender. They're trying to get you off the internet because you keep hurting people. You wouldn't be so fucking hated if you weren't a shit person. I'm sorry, but some people will grow and change as a person and people will stop hating them. This doesn't seem to have happened with you, and I don't think it ever will, because you aren't capable of admitting what you need to admit in order to grow, in order to just get over your fucking ego and your self-pittiness and just his victim complex, dude. His fucking learned helplessness. When she's acknowledged, I'm pretty damn sure. It's just, whatever.
I'm not going to be talking about the people who are saying things about me nowadays, but we need to stop giving these people platforms. They're allowed to get away with causing damage to me because it's easy, and claiming I abused them when I didn't is their bread and butter. From now on, this is a place for my art, and none of my personal issues are going to enter this space ever again, so—
Well, that certainly didn't happen. You post about it all the fucking time. Whatever.
please be respectful of that. Don't obsess over me, don't sexualize me. If you have a crush on me, please keep it to yourself. I'm Aeroace and romance repulsed and sex repulsed. Don't post weird, chronically online shit about me. Like, just stop prodding into my personal life. It's stalkerish and weird and shouldn't be so normalized. Don't be a parasocial Andy. Don't contact my parents or my 16-year-old sister. Yes, people do this. Don't harass me, don't pretend to be me. This is more of a personal gripe, but please, and I mean please, don't take heavy inspiration from my art. Please don't interact with me if you're an avid follower of birdie Twitter and birdie-related curious cat threads. And if you really don't like me, then just don't interact with my content. Okay, as long as you don't do any of those things, then we're all good out here. If you have any friends who are into birdie drama, maybe try showing them this video, or even better, just tell them to stop. This kind of culture surrounding me is unhealthy and actually disturbing as hell. Well, anyways, I'll see you all later. A bunch of fun art is coming soon. Bye! It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. God damn, I've been streaming for 2 hours. It's 3 a.m. That was a load of bullshit. What the fuck? Well, that's all I'm willing to go over right now because I am fucking exhausted. I hope this helped. I wasn't able to provide everything because, you know, I don't have everything on me right now, but yeah. So long, bitches.